Welcome to the April 24th, 2025 meeting of the Rutherford County School Board. First, we have a call to order. We have a lot on our agenda tonight, and I will not tolerate outbursts from the gallery. You will be removed. We will be opening the meeting with a brief moment of silence or prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States flag. No one is required to participate or be present for any of these, and being in this portion of the meeting is completely voluntary. Ms. Darby.
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I would just ask that you would be with this board. I would ask that you give us open eyes, open ears, open hearts, help to guide us to make decisions that are in the best interest of this district, our students, their parents, and our staff. I ask this in your name. Amen. We have some special guests from Stewart's Creek Elementary to lead us in the pledge today. And I apologize if I say your name, mispronounce it. If Reagan Wiley, Landon Fraser, Don Logan, Jax Cole, Will Haynes, Lincoln Thompson, Jocelyn Tovar, Olivia Hanson will come up to the podium and lead us in pledge, please. I thought they were over there with all the Creek shirts on.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up, we have the approval of the agenda. Any comments or questions? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Sharp. Thank you, Mr. Tidwell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Does everyone have their mic on? Mr. Vaughn?
Yeah.
Next, we have the approval of the consent agenda. Any comments or questions?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Sharp. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have Rutherford Proud, Mr. Evans.
Hi there. My name is Caitlin Benavides. I am the district's library and information specialist, and I am here today to celebrate School Library Month in April. So to kick things off right now, our communications department has prepared a video of some of our library media specialists and the role they serve across our district.
As I say, it's the heart of the school. We try to create a pocket of peace in the middle of the day. And I'm not sure, if you're not coming into the library before school or during lunch, I'm not sure you realize how many students are using the library as a peaceful place to just exist in the middle of the noise of the school.
There's a bathroom right across the hall, so they'll come across and let us know that toilets are overflowing. And so as a librarian, they think we can fix everything in the building. Oftentimes they'll come to us and be like, hey, I don't know what my next class is. Can you look my schedule up? So, and we've learned that every touch point when they come in the library lets them know that we're here for them. So we never get upset when they come and ask us questions that are not part of our job, because that means they trust us and they know that we're going to take care of them.
Hi there, I'm Caitlin Benavides. I am the district's library and information specialist for Rutherford County Schools, and I am so excited to share some programs, lessons, and different promotions our librarians are doing across the district. Here are some awesome highlights.
I think that people think that
I sit in here and just read all day with my hair in a bun and shush people. And I do that. However, my goal is to put books in the hands of children and have them want to seek and read more. So I'm constantly trying to open their eyes to new books, finding a genre that they like. I love it. I love seeing the kids read every day, finding things that they like to read. I absolutely love it. And I feel like I've even told Mr. Epting, he has extended my career by giving me the opportunity to move into the library versus being in the classroom. People are surprised that I see so many classes a day. I think people think that students just come in to check out books and leave. And we have classes all day. I'm teaching library skills, I'm collaborating with teachers. If they need help covering a standard, I'm happy to help them, or supplement in here. And I don't think people realize that.
One of the things I love about the job is that every day is truly different. And that's refreshing for me as a person, that every day I see different students. And what I notice is every year, not only is it different students, and I get new ones every year, but it's also different teachers, and also teachers can change also. And I try to help them with as much of their needs as possible. The environment of our library is evolving and changing. So we have a mixture of activity, and then we'll have quietness and solitude for those that need it. It becomes a place for whatever the students need it to be.
I think Ms. Jenkins and Mr. Seedorf really pull it all together. It's like the atmosphere is great, the books and stuff, the people that come in, they're great, but I think the energy.
Mr. Seedorf and I work really hard for students to feel seen and known in the school. Our school's a really big school. And so we really want the people that have chosen the library as their space. We realize that there are some people who choose the gym as their space, and they're going to be known in the gym. And there are some people who have other clubs, and they're going to be known in those places by those people. But there are some students who have chosen the library as their space, and we want them to feel seen and known. And so part of our mission is just making sure that we talk to those regulars and build relationships with them, because sometimes they don't have relationships with people outside of the building. And we want every student to see themselves on our shelf.
Transitioning from the classroom, I was a first grade teacher before I became the librarian here at Cedar Grove. And the biggest thing is getting to know everyone. I get to teach about 900 kids on a 7-day rotation. So every 9 days, if there are no days out of school, I see them all. I get to know them all. I get to work with all of the teachers, all of the staff, the ladies in the office. So the biggest thing for me was expanding my relationships, because I'm really big on relationships, and I don't have relationships just with 23 families anymore. I get to have a relationship with everyone in the school and get to try to show everyone that there's a place for everyone in the library.
Okay, so I am blessed that I get to have lots of planning time with our teachers here. So I go to all their PLC meetings that we get to be a part. So that's either planning lessons, helping them come up with book club tie-ins, helping them in their classroom. So sometimes I'll go and co-teach in the classroom, and really making their learning exciting and hands-on. STEM is something that you can incorporate in any topic. So I think the blessing of being in the library is I get to pull that into other classes that may not have STEM. So I pull STEM in because I love having kids involved and doing something with their hands. I think it's good for them to learn those problem-solving skills. And I pull that in really in any class that comes to the library. So anytime that they come, I want them doing things, I want them building, I want them problem-solving. So I pull in STEM with ELA classes like today, or even with science or social studies classes.
So we were pleasantly surprised this year to see that our circulation statistics had doubled, and so we contribute that to several reasons. One of the first most important reasons is the relationship that my co-librarian Liz and I have focused on building relationships with students. One of the second reasons is that our library is diverse in that it is set up to meet the needs of our students. So our library is unDeweyed. So what that means is that students don't have to know a Dewey Call number to find their book. They go over like it's a bookstore, so we have purposely set our books up so it's like a bookstore. So if you look behind me, you see that our books are faced out. They are engaging, they capture interest, and our entire library is set to do that for our students. It is colorful and it's filled with books that they want to read. And also we focus on books that they request. So when we find that we don't have books that they've asked for, we focus on those and make those a priority in our next order. Liz and I are firm believers in the fact that every student should be able to walk out of our library with a book that they can read and that makes them want to come back and get another book. And it's just seeing the smile on a student's face that there's a book that they can read. It's the best feeling in the world.
All right, so I would love to talk to you a little bit about who we are as librarians. All right, we in Rutherford County have 60 library media specialists. We have 30 library assistants or EAs. We serve 52,000 readers, and as of last week, we have 513,216 books. We have 608 combined years of experience, which brings very valuable expertise when we come all to the table to collaborate. We collectively hold 67 different graduate degrees, ranging from library sciences, literacy, instructional technology, and education. Now you will notice that we have 60 library media specialists, but we have 67 degrees, which means that some of our librarians have pursued additional graduate degrees. I am proud to share that we've had so many librarians present at our district level as well as the state level over these past 2 years. Among them, Siegel Middle School's library media specialist on the right, Katie Capshaw, presented at the national level in 2023 in Tampa Bay at the American Association of School Librarians Conference. So many librarians across this country attended her presentation that there was standing room only and there was a line out the door. I've learned that we have had 12 librarians recognized as their school level Teacher of the Year in the very recent past, and a handful of those librarians have been recognized at the district level as their respected grade band Teacher of the Year for the district. So what we do. It is difficult to be concise when it comes to defining the role of a school librarian. But if I had to state it plainly, I would say that we create learning opportunities. Every task, every program, every lesson, and every resource that we provide is an opportunity for a student to grow. I talk a lot about our library programs. That's part of my job. And I want to take this opportunity to give a voice to our own school librarians to help clarify their role in their own words. So the next several slides are not my words, but the words of our school librarians when I'm asking them to define their role. We touch the minds of every student in the building, and very few people in a school can say that. Our enthusiasm and love of reading is what our kids see and learn from, and that's what we're all here for. I read to our structured setting class. I meet with seniors to go over graduation information. I print posters, locate articles, and gather resources for teachers, triage laptop issues, and teach research classes. We run after-school clubs like book clubs, STEM, robotics. We secure grants for literacy initiatives. We partner with community members to enrich learning. We empower students to grow into curious, capable, and compassionate learners, extending our impact far beyond the walls of our schools. Like Brian said in our video, it's really hard to pinpoint the role of librarian because it looks different in every building because the needs of our students are different. So as you can see here, we have so many successes that we value according to the needs of our students. One of my personal favorites was 7th grade got an extra reward time, and 30 to 40 students in the 7th grade picked the library over the gym or outside time. That's a big win. So how do students benefit from their school library? There's actually a lot of research. We build strong libraries, or strong school libraries build strong students. The background went away, I'm not sure why. So research has shown that in over 21 state studies have confirmed that successful library programs support students in academic achievement regardless of grade band, demographic, or economic differences. We know that well-staffed libraries lead to high reading achievement scores. Research consistently shows that when children have access to a school library that houses plenty of books and is adequately staffed, they read more and score higher on academic achievement tests across the board. We also know that leisure reading leads to a wide range of benefits that set our students up for success. Outside of complementing all our curriculum standards in our libraries, librarians primarily build their programs around growing a recreational reading culture within their school. We know that reading for enjoyment has an array of cognitive and psychological benefits. Studies have shown increased cognitive stamina, stronger critical thinking skills, the development of empathy, and positive mental health outcomes in those who choose to read for pleasure. We bring these common understandings with us to our library space. We know as librarians that the key to creating a lifelong reader is to allow choice. We know that allowing students time and modeling free voluntary reading promotes stronger reading habits. And students who read for leisure, again, have higher achievement scores across all grade bands, and yes, even math. So I just wanted to briefly celebrate that circulation is up across our entire district, which means that more students are checking out books today than they have in the last several years. If you look at this bar graph up here, the very top of it reflects 29,733 books checked out. That school is a tiny school called Buchanan Elementary School. It has about 470 kids enrolled there, and Miss Andrea Austin has among the highest circulation statistics for our entire county. Our high school seniors are reading too. At Rockvale High School, we actually have some high school seniors modeling a love for reading through digital book reviews. And if I may take 60 seconds to show you an example of these high school seniors sharing books that they love. Victoria's review at the top if you can.
Hello, Rockville Readers. This is Victoria Soto, and I'm here in the library to talk about Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. It's one of the first classics that I ever read, one of my favorites, and I know we have a strong perception about classics, but this one is very relevant and very funny. In this book, we know the Bennet sisters who are facing their need to marry during the Regency era in England. Lizzie meets Mr. Darcy, and their relationship will be impacted by Pride and Prejudice. They will initially have a lot of arguments, debates, and struggles that will represent the complexity of interpersonal relationships and communication. And of course, high some of Jane Austen's criticism of the society of the time. She talks about pride, she talks about the role of women, sisterhood, and more. Come by and read more about the work of Jane Austen and know who she truly is and what kind of messages she hides through her mockery and romanticism.
And we just have one more by Chris, who is a senior at Rockville High School.
My name is Chris Collins. I'm a senior here at Rockville High School. I have two books. This one's One Punch Man. I don't know the author's name, unfortunately, but it's a really good series. I recommend, in my opinion, I watch a lot of anime, so it's being able to come here to this library and read the books. For example, I was really young when I was first watching the series, and I don't remember it. And I came in here one day, I was already reading Bleach. Bleach is also another really good book. I watched that one. I just wanted to read it. But anyways, back to One Punch Man. So I watched it as a kid, but I didn't really take in all the information. So I came in here, I was I was just trying to read the book, and I was addicted, bro. I couldn't put the books down, bro. And it got to the point where even though like it stops at 18, I'm still reading it on my phone. Like, and this series too, it has a 3-in-1. It's like 3 volumes in one book, huge book. I'm finishing it in one class. Like, it's amazing. I recommend y'all come stop in here, come check out some books or whatever. And yeah, y'all have a nice day.
I think among our librarians, there is a very special kind of joy with hooking a reader. So having somebody come into your space as a non-reader and finding that perfect book that gets started like Chris does. Finally, I want to celebrate some individuals. This year, Rachel Hibden, who is the librarian at Rocky Fork Middle School, received the Excellence in Computer Science Award, recognized by the Tennessee STEM Innovation Network. Carissa Benton, who we also saw in the video at Laverne High School, just recently traveled to Washington, D.C. to receive a national recognition in teaching excellence from the National Education Association. And Katie Rathis, our wonderful librarian at Barfield Elementary School, was just recognized this year as Rutherford County's Elementary Level Teacher of the Year. Lastly, I want to recognize some students at Stewart's Creek Middle School. We have a reading engagement platform called Beanstack, which we purchased for a handful of middle schools across our district to engage our middle schoolers specifically in reading. And we have had some really wonderful results. It turns reading into a competition. So you can compete against grade levels, you can compete against homerooms, and you can even compete against other schools, which is what happened in March. We had a March Madness reading challenge, and at the end of March, Stewart's Creek Middle School read almost 300,000 minutes during the month of March. And they have received our inaugural March Madness Reading Challenge Champion Trophy. And to present this award to some of our most avid readers at Stewart's Creek Middle School, I'm going to invite Miss Stacy Whitlock, an absolutely fantastic librarian.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Stacy Whitlock, and I am the Library Media Specialist at Stewart's Creek Middle School. Happy School Library Month to my colleagues who are present this evening and watching from home. And thank you to Caitlin Benavides for being our biggest supporter and #1 fan. I'd like to begin by recognizing the staff and students at the 4 other middle schools that participated in the March Madness Reading Challenge. It was Rocky Fork, Rock Springs, Christiana, and Siegel. They were indeed fierce readers and competitors. I would also like to recognize the incredible administration team and staff at Stewart's Creek Middle. Our principal, Dr. Latoni Murray, is a strong supporter of our library and the activities that we use to engage our students and promote the culture of reading and literacy at the Creek. Our amazing staff encourages our students to read independently as often as possible, whether they are in a social studies class, science class, math, ELA, or an elective class. Reading is a cross-curricular skill that impacts every aspect of our students' academic achievement. Just like a basketball player practices free throws to improve their shooting skills, readers improve their reading skills by reading. To add to what Ms. Benavides said in her presentation earlier, RCS librarians build relationships with our students and get to know their unique needs and interests. Then, with care, purpose, and due diligence, curate a school library collection with a variety of books that meet the needs and interests of our diverse student population so they can have the tools they need to achieve socially and academically. We have 6 students here in attendance this evening representing Stewart's Creek Middle School. They are some of the top readers from the March Madness Challenge. For the challenge, each student had the individual goal of reading and logging 600 minutes between March 3rd and March 27th. At Stewart's Creek Middle School, there were 140 students who met or exceeded that individual goal. We're going to start with Miles Gloppa, if you would stand, please. Miles is in 6th grade, and he logged 761 minutes of reading for the March Madness Challenge. Miles enjoys reading the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series by Jeff Kinney, and Work in Progress, a verse novel, as well as one of his favorites. So congratulations, Miles. Ryan Blair is also here this evening. He is in 7th grade, and he logged 936 minutes of reading for the challenge. Ryan is a fan of dystopian and science fiction books. Congratulations, Ryan. The next student is actually not here this evening. She's trying to qualify for state, for track. Anna Gloppa is in 6th grade. She logged 942 minutes of reading. She enjoys reading many genres of books, including verse novels and realistic fiction. Her favorite author is Sharon Draper, and loved reading her series Out of My Mind. And good luck, Anna Claire. I hope you qualify for track. Next, we have Miss Irma Balderrama, who is here with us this evening. She is in 6th grade, and she logged 2,167 minutes of reading. Irma enjoys reading graphic novels, and most recently finished reading the book The Summer of the Mariposas by Guadalupe Garcia McCall. Congratulations, Irma. Next, we have Lillian Top. She is in 8th grade, logging 2,865 minutes of reading for the challenge. She loves dystopian books such as Neil Shusterman's Scythe series, as well as mystery books. Seventh grader Alana Purser logged a whopping 3,849 minutes of reading during the challenge. She is a huge fan of Aaron Hunter's Warrior Cats fantasy series. And then we have Caesar Tovar. If Caesar could stand, please. He is our top reader overall at Stewart's Creek for the March Madness Challenge. He is in 7th grade and read and logged 9,489 minutes of reading. And yes, this kid is legit. He sat back down. Okay, he's back. Okay. Caesar is a passionate reader and enjoys many types of books, but especially enjoys sports fiction by authors such as Mike Lupica and John Feinstein, and he wanted me to make sure I added that his favorite author is Kwame Alexander. Here. Thank you so much for your support of school libraries, and congratulations to all my kids. Thank you.
Thank you all for your time this evening. I want to thank our communications team for visiting our libraries and speaking with our amazing library media specialists. I want to thank our instruction department for seeing the value in our space and our resources. I also want to thank Dr. Sullivan, who on a whim gave me my first library job. Last but not least, I want to recognize our librarians that came out tonight and our librarians watching from home. Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I got a little bit out of order there. We were supposed to do the staff awards first, but I really like to do that with the librarians. So Thank you. I want to make sure that we recognize Sonic Restaurants. We have a couple of new different representatives this week or this month. Jeremy Arnold and Cameron Alexander. You guys here? Oh, great. We usually, Mr. Spraggins and Mr. Schuer usually come, but they sent some other great guys this week, and we're going to see. That's okay. Yeah. Well, we appreciate you. So just to remind everybody, Sonic has agreed to sponsor these awards all school year, and they've already signed on for next year. And so they said a couple months ago, hey, we're in. Just let us know what you need, and we're there. So we appreciate the support of our schools. Dr. Martin is our Deputy Superintendent back here. She's going to help with the awards, and we're going to do a picture right over here with everybody when this is done. The first award winner this month is Brad Decker, the principal of Oakland Middle School. And I joked with Mr. Decker before the meeting that it just pained me that I was going to say something nice about him, but I was really joking because Mr. Decker is a wonderful principal. Just earlier this week, he called me about a family who was having a hardship, just advocating for him, wanting to know how we could help them. We were able to find a program that would help them, and that's just the type of conversations we typically have with Mr. Decker. And this goes to prove it. This is the nomination from the parent who nominated Mr. Decker. Unexpected to us, our daughter had a difficult time transitioning from elementary school to middle school recently. This is a child who is normally well-liked and well-known and has lots of friends. So again, it was truly unexpected that we were having this type of experience. The staff at the school, from the front office to the counselors to the assistant principal to the teachers, all had a hand in helping my daughter adjust to the middle school environment, and I'd like to give credit where credit is due, and that is the one in charge, who is Mr. Principal Decker. The support I received from Oakland Middle School was truly a beautiful thing. Mr. Decker recognized he could help my child and connected my child to the appropriate staff members who could help. I've already sent a handwritten thank you note to the staff, but I also wanted to make sure that we nominated him for that award. So I wanted you to hear that from the principal. So again, thank you for being such a great principal. Our next award winner is in the teacher category. This is, and just to remind everybody, we do 4 categories. We recognize a principal, a teacher, a support staff member, and someone who's involved with transportation each month. So in this category, it's for a teacher, Miss Kristen Lucas. Is she here? Great, come on up. So Miss Lucas is a 3rd grade teacher at Wilson Elementary School, and if you don't know, 3rd grade teachers have that wonderful reading law to deal with every year and to help the parents and the students navigate that. And this parent specifically mentioned that that's one of the reasons she nominated her. Miss Lucas is an amazing teacher. She works hard to help her students make the most growth possible. She teaches 3rd grade and handles all of the stress from the retention laws so well. She also helps lead her team in reading, and we need more teachers like her. So that's directly from a parent. So thank you. In the transportation category, we want to recognize Ashia Curtis, and I hope I pronounced your first name right, Miss Curtis? Aisha, sorry about that. Come on up. She's a bus driver, bus 185, right? So correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is you went to school, Miss Curtis, you went to school in Christiana, right? You live in Christiana, and you really wanted to drive in Christiana to serve your community. That's what our transportation department told me. You were nominated by a parent who said, she worked with my son to get him adapted to being a first-time bus rider. She is always nice, patient, and understanding, and I see her treat all of her kids with care and respect. So thank you. And then our final recognition tonight is for Miss Rebecca Ray, who actually could not be here, but I still want to nominate or recognize her tonight. She goes by Miss Becky. Now, and this is also unusual, she now works at David Urey, but when the nomination came in, she was at Rock Springs Elementary School, but she's liked so well at both schools, we still wanted to make sure she was recognized. So Miss Becky is the face of the front office and is the most deserving person for special recognition. She greets all families and students with a smile and is willing to help however needed. She is loyal to the community, is a bright light each day, and she is wonderful, and we are so lucky to have her. And so we're going to go out to the school and actually recognize Ms. Ray. She just could not be here tonight. So if she's watching, thank you very much. All right, so we're going to do a quick picture over here with everyone, and then I think that Mr. Pettigo has something. Is that right? Okay, thank you all.
Yeah, we did last time.
Okay. Well, yes. Ms. Darby, you want to introduce Mr. Pettigo?
We have Mr. Pettigo, principal of Eagleville, is here to share some stuff with us.
First off, thank you to Ms. Darby for inviting us out for some recognitions. Thank you to the board, Dr. Sullivan, for having us here this evening. We've got some students to recognize. A lot of great things going on at Eagleville. I do want to highlight a couple of recent things before we get to these students over here that our students are doing. Of course, I got to start with Maddie Pruitt, who is in top 14 of American Idol. So, shameless plug, vote Maddie. We've had Emily Bird, that was top 5 in the Global Amazing Shake in Atlanta here right as spring break. I think that may be the highest anybody from Rutherford County has finished in the Amazing Shake. So, great work by her. We've had David Harrison, that's had a perfect ACT 36 here recently. We think the first in school history for that. We've got 2 softball players nominated for Tennessee Gatorade Player of the Year. For one, that's softball team to have 1 is good, but to have 2 is fabulous. We had Carly Wisner here the other night, 3D state championship in middle school girls archery. So just a lot of great things going on at Eagleville. We've got great staff and students. So for these guys over here, they went to Junior Beta Nationals and won the national championship in what they call living literature. So speaking of books in the library, they did a book that was called The Great Mouse Plot by Ronald Dahl. It's a children's story about young Ronald and his friends who decide to prank a mean shop owner, Miss Pratchett. The story is set in a sweet shop where the children regularly buy sweets, but Miss Pratchett's rude and unpleasant demeanor towards them prompts them to plan a revenge for them. And what the students have to do is go through, and they've got to basically build a set of what is going on in the story. They become the characters of that story, so they have done a fantastic job in doing that. So really appreciate them, and to win a national at Beta was just a great accomplishment by these students. So we do have a few of them here tonight, so I do want to point them out. Also our sponsors, our main sponsor, Marcy Pfluger, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. Miss Michelle Curtis is one of our sponsors. Students that we have here tonight, Miss Aubrey Tibbs, if you'll stand up as I call your name, Miss Bella Wilson, Mr. Porter Tomlinson, Mr. Ryder Williams, and students, unfortunately, that couldn't be here tonight, Lawson Latta, Luke Cooper, Lillian Hoffer, Audrey Hall, and Alex Bolden. So great job by these students in doing that, and we really appreciate their accomplishments. Thank you again for your work.
That's outstanding. Thank you, Mr. Pettigo.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
If they will go to the lobby, I believe Mr. Evans wants to grab a photo before they head out.
Thank you. We have a presentation this evening from Ms. Shanna Groom.
Good evening. I'm Shanna Groom. I am the Health Services Coordinator for Rutherford County Schools. That means I'm over our school nurses. And unlike a presentation, I'm actually going to read a proclamation from our governor. in honor of our National School Nurses Day that's coming up in a couple of weeks. So bear with me, it's a lot of whereases, but I'm not as good as this Mr. Reed. But whereas school nurses have played a critical role in improving public health and in promoting student academic success for more than 100 years. And whereas many children face complex and life-threatening health problems that require care while attending schools. And whereas school nurses serve as an important conduit between students and parents, the local community and healthcare providers by providing wellness and improving health outcomes. And whereas school nurses support the health and educational success of children and youth by providing access to care when their cognitive development is at their peak. And whereas we recognize the hard work and dedication of our school nurses in the state of Tennessee and commend them for their continued efforts. Now, therefore, I, Bill Lee, Governor of the state of Tennessee, do hereby proclaim May 7th, 2025 as School Nurse Appreciation Day in Tennessee and encourage all citizens to join me in this worthy observance. And just very briefly, I would like to recognize that we have 21 nationally certified school nurses in Rutherford County and only 55 in the state. So almost half of the nationally certified school nurses are here serving our students in Rutherford County. So thank you for your time.
Next, we have public comment. First up, we have Alan Youngren.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, thank you again for allowing me to come up here and speak. A couple weeks ago we came in and you guys had a docket on your agenda to look over and more information was needed to try to make a better decision or whatever moving forward. This time I'm just going to try to keep it sweet. I know you guys got a lot going on today. I do plead with the board to hopefully make a real good decision on this. I wanted to actually introduce him to you. This is Jackson. I wanted you guys to actually see him, meet him, see the boy that you guys are, making a decision on. I know it's a difficult decision to make, good or bad. I get it, I understand. Again, thank you. I don't want to take up too much more of your guys' time. Thank you.
Next, we have Dominique Smith.
Hello, I'm Dominique Smith. I'm here this evening to speak in support of Rocketship's charter school application. I'm a resident of Smyrna. I have twin daughters who are here with me tonight. They will be kindergartners at Stewart's Creek Elementary School in the fall. Stewart's Creek is an amazing school. My husband and I actually chose the neighborhood we live in specifically to be zoned for that school. However, if Rocketship were to open a school here in Rutherford County, that would be my first choice for their elementary school. I'm an educator myself. I'm actually a principal of a middle school in North Nashville, and I'm very familiar with Rocketship's model. Before we moved to Tennessee to be closer to my husband's family, I was a founding teacher at one of Rocketship's schools in California. That experience has shaped how I work to this day, especially in the areas of teacher development and coaching. Even though Rocketship was my third teaching experience, it was the first time I had a really strong coach who gave me clear guidance on how to effectively prep and deliver a lesson. As an educator, I know the importance of quality instruction, but as a mom, I'm drawn to Rocketship's complete approach to building a school community. First, Rocketship schools are diverse. They welcome and celebrate a variety of cultures that exist within the communities they are located in, and that is something I loved for my daughters to experience. Second, Rocketship provides individualized instruction for students, which involves a lot of small group and even one-on-one instruction. I believe this is especially important for young children. Third, Rocketship supports not just the individual child, but the family as a whole. Teachers do home visits with all of their students, getting to know the families and the communities that they're serving. Family engagement is a core to Rocketship's model. And last, Rocketship has a big focus on joy. The entire school begins every day singing and dancing together. I still know every move to one of the troll songs they would play and dance frequently with my girls. That level of joy is often missing in traditional public schools. Not only does it make learning fun, but it reinforces for students that the adults in the school care about them and want them to be there. Rutherford is a fast-growing community. Many of our schools are overpopulated. We need more schools, and Rocketship knows how to build a great school from the ground up with all of the operational systems that are needed. I ask you to please support Rocketship's charter school application. Thank you.
Next, we have Sarah Bell.
Hello. I do not like public speaking, but I just wanted to take a moment to thank all of the Rutherford County librarians and educators for the work that they do and the love that they pour into our children every day. My son is in the 3rd grade, and I have only positive things to say regarding the teachers and school staff that I have met over the past few years. I feel connected and well-informed about what my son is learning. I know exactly what books he's checking out from the library because he excitedly shows them to me when he gets home in the afternoons. In the same vein, I have been beyond impressed with the level of professionalism and thoroughness that Dr. Chastain and the library media specialists have shown in their recommendations. I was hopeful that the board would defer to their expertise regarding compliance with the state laws. I read through all their notes for every meeting. To me, at least, it felt like a concerted effort was made to address the board's concerns and present recommendations in a logical and in-depth manner. The board's repeated refusal to follow these recommendations has been downright disgraceful. I have always loved reading. I was checking books out of the high school library years before I was a student. I actually read several of the books you guys have removed. Only once did my mother ever stop me from reading a book. It was A Time to Kill by John Grisham. When she told me that I was too young to read it, I respected her opinion and I waited to read it until I was older. Now that I am a parent myself, I work daily to build that same level of trust and respect with my own son. A common question in my house is that for grown-ups? It is asked about books, movies, musicians, and even video games. I answer him honestly. He knows there's some language that isn't appropriate for him at his age. He has a basic understanding of what sex is and why media with that content is not appropriate for him at his age. He understands that there are some depictions of violence that are too graphic for him at his age. So if I believe that something is inappropriate, I tell him, and I tell him why. He says, okay, and we move on. It really is that easy. I trust him, and he trusts me. I wish more parents had this relationship with their children, but many in this county obviously do not. And I will just end with a quote from a novella, This Is How You Lose the Time War, which is what finally convinced me to speak. As you can tell, I'm not a good speaker, but I've been very frustrated the past few months, so I finally signed up to do it. When I read, books are letters in bottles cast into the waves of time from one person trying to save the world to another. Keep reading, keep writing, keep fighting. We're all still here. So anyway, thanks.
Thank you. Next, we have Judy Whiteill.
My name is Judy Whiteill, and I'm a retired elementary school librarian media specialist. I really appreciated the outstanding presentation tonight about our media specialist, and I had written my comments before that, so there may be some redundancy. But I wanted to say that public schools have always offered an equal opportunity to every student. Library media specialists serve every student, regardless of the size or grade configuration of their school. While smaller schools offer the opportunity to know the students better, most schools today are designed to serve up to 1,000 students. This element alone brings challenges when scheduling library classes and maintaining book and media collections. Many don't know the full description a job description for librarians. It's very long and detailed, but I'll hit some highlights. First of all, teaching students to have respect for books and materials that have to be shared by everyone in the school. Providing instruction on how to use the system. I don't know if it's still the Dewey Decimal System, but it enables students to be independent when searching for and choosing books. Scheduling with classroom teachers for times to conduct story time, checkout, and hold classes where important library skills are taught. Researching professional journals to determine which books, media materials, and AV equipment that they must purchase for their media center. Processing new books and materials received, preparing memorial and honor books, checking in, organizing, and shelving hundreds of books that are returned on a daily basis, inventorying thousands of books and materials every year, understanding and becoming familiar with the frequent updating of the operating system that's used in the Library Media Center, teaching students how to conduct research for reports, projects, and term papers, organizing and conducting book fairs for the extra funds needed to supplement a limited library budget, and collaborating with classroom teachers to supplement items they need to teach specific subjects and units. All of the above and more are required of these professionals. While library media specialists don't get a coaching supplement, they should, because they coach a huge team, the entire school. They do this so that all students can develop a love of reading and strive to become lifelong learners. Library media specialists are winners in my book.
Next, we have Alejandra Beltran.
Good evening, members of the board, and thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Alejandra Beltran, and I am here to support Rocket Ship's charter school application. I have lived in Rutherford County for about 6 years now and currently residing in Smyrna. Every day I travel to South Nashville to teach kindergarten humanities at Rocket Ship United Academy, which was the second Rocket Ship school to open here in Tennessee. When I was first hired, I was living in Murfreesboro and found it worth commuting. Then I felt it was worth moving closer to Rocket Ship United, so I did. I have been at Rocket Ship for 4 years now. When their third school, Rocket Ship Dream Community Prep, opened in Antioch, I considered transferring, but I couldn't bring myself to leave Rocket Ship United. We're more than just a building of staff and students. Rocket Ship schools are real communities, almost like a family. One thing that really stuck with me from the onboarding process is the organization's belief that every child deserves a high-quality education regardless of their zip code. I know firsthand how important that is. I am a proud first-generation Latina college graduate. I come from a working-class family, and even in a low-income area, I was given a strong academic foundation for my academic journey. I was able to earn my bachelor's degree in sociology, all through Pell Grants based off my grades. While in college, I worked as a teacher's assistant and began working with groups of students. When I witnessed the students' growth and their progress, I realized I wanted to get into teaching. Rocket Ship has provided me with the path to reach that goal. I am currently working on my master's degree and teacher certification, all while gaining valuable teaching experience by teaching on a state permit. Rocket Ship has given me the tools and resources I need to grow as a teacher in order to help grow my students as well. I love providing students with intentional, tailored instruction to meet them where they are through our emphasis on data-driven small group instruction. I truly enjoy relationships I get to build with families, especially with Spanish-speaking parents who feel an immediate sense of relief when they realize they have someone to communicate with. They know their children feel seen, understood, and supported. If Rocket Ship opens a school here in Rutherford County, I hope to be a part of it. I live in the community, and I'd love to be a part of opening a school that reflects the diversity in the area, not just amongst the students, but among the teachers and staff as well. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak, and I respectfully ask that you approve Rocket Ship's charter application. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Josh Walker.
I'm going to read because I don't want to sound robotic.
We had a system, we had a moment of silence, it worked. It's the compromise, it's been the legal compromise in this country for decades. No one loves it, but it works for everybody. Then Mr. Tidwell decided he wanted to drag us into his peace and culture war. And now we've gotten a letter from Americans United telling us we're breaking the law, because we are. We are violating the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment, which says government cannot officially perform religious acts. It doesn't matter how many optionals you put on the form, it's still, if it's done in an official capacity, it's against the law. Now, he's also brought in the ACLJ, the American Center for Law and Justice. And supposedly it's going to be free. I'm sure he's told y'all it's going to be free. But the thing is, if you look at their paperwork, it's page 40 in the agenda, if anyone wants to look it up, it says, you understand, however, that you alone are responsible for paying any fines, attorney's fees, penalties, costs, or damages assessed against the client, Rutherford County Schools, personally, due to your misconduct. We are the ones breaking the law. And the ones who are going to pay for this are the students of Rutherford County, because the way he hasn't told you, they're an activist group. Their goal is to change the law. The way they do that is to get someone to break the law like we have done, and then they're going to sue their way up through the courts. We're going to get sued to stop. They're going to bring it up through the appellate courts to the Supreme Court, and the goal is to change the law. I know this case because he's mentioned the status of the courts, because they're trying to change the law. The problem is, as the law stands now, it is illegal, and we will pay for it. We will pay every fine, we'll pay every fee, and the students of Rutherford County will suffer. Mr. Tidwell, this is not the place to fight your culture war. If you want to do that, go join a lobbying group, but this is not the place for it. I beg the rest of you, undo this, because our children will pay, they will suffer, this will cost our community. It has to be undone. It does not diminish your faith, it does not diminish your devotion to undo this, to go back to the neutral stance. Again, I beg you, don't make our students pay for his culture war. You know better, and you need to stop.
Next, we have Jade Taylor.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jade Taylor, and I'm here tonight to speak in support of Rocket Ship's charter school application. The viewpoint I'm speaking from tonight is shaped through multiple lenses. First, I'm a Nashville native who attended academic magnet schools growing up. Secondly, I'm also a Vanderbilt University graduate with a degree in human and organizational development and now leading Rocket Ship's talent development work. I'm also a resident of Smyrna and living in an area where Rocket Ship hopes to locate and break ground in a new elementary school. And finally, what I'm most proud of, I'm a new mom of a 13-month-old daughter and already thinking about the future of her educational experiences and what it'll be like for her. And so for me, the perspective I'm speaking from originates back to my own mom, who has played an enormous role in shaping my educational opportunities. She is a special education teacher who instilled in both my brother and me the importance of receiving a high-quality education early on in our lives. The public schools we attended were far away from where we lived, but for her, the distance didn't matter. It was the importance of high-quality education. And so I know that the effort my mother made to seek out high-quality schools during our education is what ultimately prepared me to attend Vanderbilt and ultimately find the career path that I'm on today. After college, my career began working in HR and national retail chains. And when I wasn't working, I was serving as a tutor. I saw an opportunity to work for Rocket Ship Public Schools as an opportunity to bridge my passion and my profession. And when I learned that Rocket Ship was opening a school in the community that I grew up in, Antioch, serving underserved communities in diverse areas, I was ultimately excited to join. I knew this was an organization I wanted to be a part of. And so for my own daughter, I want her to have an opportunity to attend high-quality schools, and one that's close to home, alongside others in her community. Excellence during these early years is important because it sets you up for success in middle school, high school, and beyond. And so knowing that Rocketship is intentional about that work and committed to helping every child reach their full potential is exactly what has excited me and continues to propel me and hopefully Rocketship in opening a school up in the Rutherford County community. Working on the national Rocketship team and talent development, we know that the core backbone of our schools is our teachers. They're the ones that make the direct impact. And so with that, as a parent and resident of Smyrna, I respectfully ask that the Rutherford County School Board vote to support Rocketship's charter school application. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Elizabeth Shepard.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you all tonight. I'm here as a Blackman High School parent and also as a school librarian. Thank you so much for featuring our librarians at tonight's meeting. I want to personally give a shout out and thank librarians Sarah, Shannon, Katie, Caitlin, Eric, Misty, Brian, Michelle, and Kelly for all the professional and personal support they have given me on my personal journey of librarianship. They and all the other RCS librarians truly deserve every bit of your appreciation, your thanks, and your support. Like I mentioned last week, as board members, last board meeting, as board members, you have an ample opportunity to show our librarians your support through your words as well as your actions. You have the power to update the librarian job description so it is clear to all stakeholders that RCS only hires the best, highly qualified, certified librarians with master's degrees. The Tennessee Department of Education has recently changed their policy, lowering the standards for attaining a library endorsement. I hope for the sake of our students and their continued success that RCS goes above and beyond setting expectations when hiring new librarians, especially with all the additional maneuvering they're now required to do to comply with state law. You have the power to provide them with the funds needed to have a well-staffed library to attend high-quality professional developments and to be able to purchase much-needed books for their students. You have the power to make changes to Board Policy 4.403 at next week's Policy Committee meeting to amend the current wording and return to the common sense methods for material challenges that have worked in our county for years. As I close, I'd like to switch gears a bit and express my concern with the board's potential affiliation with the ACLJ. I worry that this organization does not have our students' best interests at heart. I have serious concerns about the potential for them to use disputes here in our county as publicity for themselves and to further their reach and their personal gain. We have already had enough negative publicity in the last few months. It's important that you remember why you're here and why your decisions and your affiliations are so important. Don't lose focus. Remember what you were elected to do, investing in every student every day. Thank you.
Next, we have Karen Campbell.
Hello, my name is Karen Campbell. I am here today as the mother of Samuel Campbell, a 7th grader at Rockville Middle School. I am respectfully requesting that you overturn a decision to remand my son to alternative school. This action, we believe, constitutes a violation of his right to due process and represents a failure by the school to follow its own stated policies and procedures as outlined in the 2024-25 RCS Student Handbook and Code of Conduct. First, Samuel was accused of cheating in action explicitly categorized as a level 1 misbehavior according to policy 6.300 of the Code of Conduct on page 5 of 96. These offenses are considered minor to be handled in the classroom at the teacher level and not through office referrals or severely disciplinary actions such as alternative school placement. He was already appropriately disciplined when he received a 0 on the assignment with no opportunity for corrections or a retake, a significant academic consequence. Yet, that was followed by an office referral and a remandment to alternative school, which in effect punishes him 3 times for a single classroom infraction. Second, as stated in the policy 6.300 of the Student Handbook and Code of Conduct, Rutherford County Schools are required to implement discipline practices that include restorative practices, RTI 2B, which is response to instruction and intervention for behavior, a multi-tiered system of supports, or MTSS, and behavior intervention plans. These practices are not optional. They are mandated and must be utilized before exclusionary or punitive actions are considered. In Samuel's case, none of these supports were ever provided. There was no attempt at restorative practice, no document behavioral interventions, and no evidence of a Tier 2 or Tier 3 plan designed to address the root of any perceived behavioral challenges, and none of these options were ever offered by the school. Instead, the only response to Samuel's misbehaviors has been punitive. This failure is a clear deviation from policy and represents a significant break in process and due diligence as laid out in both the district handbook and the state-endorsed RTI 2B framework. Additionally, as this failure to provide interventions is not only a violation of local policy, but it contradicts the expectations as outlined by the Tennessee Board of Education, the RTI 2B framework, which is fully endorsed and implemented by Rutherford County Schools. Finally, I just want to add, as I close, the discipline administered to my son has lacked fairness, consistency, and transparency, and most importantly, failed to follow the very policies the district has put in place. The policy is clear. The incident has been mishandled at every procedural and policy level. Samuel has already faced consequences, and we are not here to ask for special treatment, only fair treatment as guaranteed by the Code of Conduct and his rights for due process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you want to speak? No. All right, thank you.
Was this Samuel?
Yes.
Okay, he was listed here.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to speak? Okay, that's fine, that's fine. That leaves room for Danielle Nadeau.
Good evening. I was second alternate, so not totally prepared. I'm approaching you guys, first of all, thank you for your service, and in regard to the parent responsibility zones, I am the guardian of an 8th grader at Blackman Middle, and who utilizes the bus services due to a couple of issues, but mostly working parents need an option for their children to get to school that allows work hours. You know, when you get in the drop-off line for these schools, you're sitting there for 30 minutes or more each way, and not to mention that the afternoon hours, everyone's at work. Walking or bicycling are not safe in our areas, often for the middle and high school, particularly at Blackman. The crossing guard is not at Fortress Boulevard and Blaze Drive, so the children are crossing 5 lanes of traffic unassisted with just the pedestrian sign. And then the traffic, in addition to that, is tremendously terrible in mornings and afternoons. Emergency personnel and fire trucks and whatnot are blocked from getting in and out. The parent responsibility zone will increase that traffic, making the drop-off times even longer, risk for all of that. Same thing with, going through Rockville and whatnot. And then at the work session of April 16th in 2014, Mr. Young brought up the TCA section 49.6.2101 section G regarding special hazards, especially wide roads, absence of sidewalks, sex offenders within the area, and no crossing guards. So if you look on the sex offenders website, in particular regarding Blackman, there are 3 within the adjacent neighborhood. There are no sidewalks to many schools. They're crossing major roads like Highway 231, Fortress, even DeJarnette, Rockville, or Highway 99. And so multiple safety aspects for these children who all receive an equal funding and deserve equal services to attend school. Parents cannot, if it were logistically possible, we would all drive our children to school. It would be safe, but it's not possible just due to the entrances, exits, traffic, and whatnot for schools. And I understand that new schools are being added, which results in added, need for buses. However, new schools can't result in reallocation or removal of services from existing students. They must have additional services added. So I ask that you reject the parent responsibility zones, and so that our children can remain safe. If we had a walkable neighborhoods, it would be great, but we do not. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Number 8, instruction.
The first is Nova Smart Academy K-8 Charter School. I want to thank Dr. McCann for his presentation and our charter school team as well. We have recommended motions to approve or deny the Nova Smart Academy K-8 Charter School application as presented by the Review Committee's recommendation for the 25-26 school year.
Any comments or questions?
To remind the board, if you do vote to approve the charter schools, it's a pretty simple vote. We have to do a resolution approving the approval. If you vote to deny the charter school application, you have to state the reasons for the denial. You can say you're voting to deny just based on staff's recommendations and report, but if there's additional reasons beyond that you want to add to it, you can do that as well.
Okay, Ms. Maxwell?
Yes, Ms. Rosales.
We had talked, I had brought up that there was last time we had like a third option to deny with stipulations. So how will that work? Like if it were to deny with a stipulation to give the charter schools time to fix the contract and address some of these concerns, if they choose to give them the chance to come back and reapply if they want to.
You have to state that you're recommending the denial at this point, subject to the following stipulations, that they'll be able to resubmit on the following conditions, and then state what your conditions are.
So can I say the conditions are the concerns that were addressed in the presentation?
Yeah.
I can say it just
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any comments or questions? Yes, Mr. Vaught.
Jeff, since this is my first rodeo, what happens if we take no action?
You have to, well, if you take no action, it's deemed a denial.
Okay.
The right to affirm under the state.
Okay.
No, it's actually, it is, Dr. McCann, yes. You want to address Dr. McCann?
Okay, come here.
It's approved, correct.
Yeah, it's automatically approved.
Right, there.
And regardless, even if the board votes to deny, they still have time to, and a whole chance to go through the review process and come back. So regardless of if the board takes action to deny with stipulations, without stipulations, the committee or the charter application still has and will more than likely come back and review and resubmit.
Yeah. Ms. Maxwell.
Yes, Mr. Vaughn.
I'd like to make a motion to deny.
Do we have a second? Do you want to state your reasons?
First of all, Dr. McCann and them did a phenomenal job, which I got to witness part of it. And I just can't support anything that doesn't come up to the performance level of the schools we have in Rutherford County. And so far, I haven't seen any of that. So.
We have a motion. Do you want to second it?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Miss.
I would like to amend the motion to
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll second it, and then I will amend it
Okay.
to deny with the stipulation that they can address the issues brought up in the review and resubmit.
I'll second.
Dr. McCann's got a comment.
Yeah, yeah. fine.
Regardless of whether you vote to deny or vote to deny with stipulations, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. They can still resubmit an amended application within 30 days, and we can review it for 60 days and then vote again.
Ms. Maxwell?
Yes.
So you're saying we just have to do a clean vote to say vote to deny, even?
You can, and they would theoretically need to address those concerns that were raised by the committee, or you can say that outright. Our stipulations are you address the concerns raised by the committee.
Okay.
Either way, it's the same
I'm just
thing.
getting a little confused about this whole.
It's okay.
Okay. Mr. Tidwell?
Thank you for that. Thank you for that clarification. Currently, there is a motion on the floor with an amendment, but thank you.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Okay, I need to clarify the motion. I got lost in that. I apologize.
I believe it was a motion to deny.
Okay, with the stipulations?
No, it's a motion to amend.
Amendment first. Okay, so this is a motion to deny with the issues brought up and to resubmit, correct?
There's no reason for the other part. They can do that anyway.
But I thought that was the amendment.
Yep.
I can withdraw the amendment.
Okay, so you should be withdrawing it. Okay.
Okay. So that's withdrawn.
So just a motion to deny.
Mrs. Rosales?
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Tidwell?
Yes.
Ms. Sharp?
No.
Mr. Vaught? Mrs. Darby?
Yes.
Mrs. Maxwell?
Yes.
Majority passes.
But the charter schools have the time to come back and address the concerns that were on the presentation.
Yes.
30 days
In 30 days.
to resubmit an application.
Yeah.
And 60 days to then review with the committee.
Next, we have the second one.
Second, Rocket Ship, Tennessee, for the charter school number 4. Recommend motions to approve or deny Rocket Ship, Tennessee, charter school number 4 application as presented by the review committee's recommendation for the 25-26 school, actually, yes, 25-26 school year.
Any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to deny based on that they didn't meet the qualifications, and for the same principle, that I just can't prove anything. It didn't show that performance level of the schools that we have here. And so they can come back and make the adjustments. And there's part of their application that was just, that wasn't done, that I guess in my opinion, if it was really important, those mistakes and errors wouldn't have been made. So
I'll second that. Yes, Mr. Tidwell?
I would just like to say the same thing for Rocket Ship applies here, which is they can obviously come back, reapply, fix these things. I do have some concerns, so that's why I'm supporting the denial at this point, but I do think that there is opportunity there should the concerns be resolved.
Yes, simply because in the past, we've already had 2 applications, and whatever is in the application is what's going to be in the contract. So this is just to give them the time to address those concerns, to come back, so that we can get an agreement that's a little bit more favorable.
Okay. Ready to vote?
All right, the motion is to deny based on qualifications and performance. Ms. Sharp? Mr. Vaught? Mrs. Rosales?
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn?
yes.
Mr. Tidwell?
Yes.
Mrs. Darby?
Yes.
Mrs. Maxwell?
Yes.
Passes by majority.
Bring back your application with the concerns that have been addressed so that we can review them.
Number 3.
This is summer literacy and math camp materials with an emphasis on science and reading and math best practices. The Lit Camp and Math Camp curriculum combines high-quality literacy and math instruction and foundational skills development with an engaging summer camp format Instruction departments requesting to purchase these kits that include a leader's guide, lit camper notebook, high-quality connected text sets, family guides, and access to additional resources available online. The cost to provide the lit and math camp curriculum will be $165,876.20, and training will be $7,992, which will come from summer camp funds from the Tennessee State Department of Education. And you see the recommended motion is to approve.
And this is a 8-week camp?
4.
4-week camp.
Entire month of June.
I'm sorry, I was making it
Roughly.
twice as long. Would be fun if it was 8 weeks. Give them just a second before we vote. Any comments or questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Tidwell.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Darby. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we move to legal.
First, we have discipline hearing appeal, and this is number 250401. The board has been requested to review a decision of the Disciplinary Hearing Authority, DHA, and the Director of Schools to uphold the remandment of a student from Rockville Middle School. Based on a review of the DHA's record, the board may A, affirm the decision of the DHA, B, overturn the decision of the DHA, or C, grant a hearing before the board. If the board chooses B, that does send the student back to school. So this one, we don't have a whole lot, so just want that to be aware. Recommended approval is a motion to approve the board, initiate a motion in line with one of those 3 options above.
I'll entertain a motion. Yes, Ms.
How long has the student been out of school?
Just a second.
Ridley, can you pull that?
Has he been out of school? Yes, ma'am.
How long was the remandment for?
We have a point system now, so, yep, 9 weeks.
I'll entertain a motion.
Affirm the decision of the DHA.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Roll call, please.
Can I make a comment? Being a former principal, kids get mandated. I want everybody to understand, in this situation, it's more than just the cheating incident. This is a culmination.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I don't believe we're supposed to publicly speak about his record.
Oh, we're not? Okay.
No.
We just need to go ahead and vote.
Mrs. Darby?
No.
Mrs. Rosales?
Yes.
Mr. Vaught? Mr. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Tidwell?
Yes.
Ms. Sharp?
No.
Mrs. Maxwell?
Yes.
All right, pass to affirm.
Number 2.
Next, we have transfer student under discipline number 1. The board's been requested to admit a transfer student from another school system under discipline. The student was expelled for a Title IX finding. According to policy 6.318, the board may deny admissions of any student except those in state custody when a student transfers from another school system while under suspension or expulsion. Director of Schools' recommendation is to deny. Recommended motions to admit or deny the admission of this transfer student under discipline.
Yes, Ms. Sharp.
I'd like to make a motion to deny but admit into the alternative school for the next school year.
I'm sorry, Ms. Sharp, could you repeat that?
Deny for him to go back to school, to be admitted to school this year, but to admit to the alternative school 25, 26.
I don't think we're going to do that.
Is that something we can do?
Ms. Ridley, what are your thoughts? Originally in the hallway.
No. No. Okay. I'll remove my motion.
Okay. Do we have any other motions?
Move to deny.
Do we have a second? I'll second. Roll call vote, please.
All right, motion is to deny. Mrs. Darby?
Yes.
Mr. Vaught? Mrs. Rosales?
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Tidwell? Ms. Sharp? Mrs. Maxwell?
Yes.
Majority passes to deny.
He will be allowed in our school system after a year, right?
Yep.
Number 3, and do we need to go into an executive session?
Mr. Reed, do you want to cut for number 3?
Yeah, this is the engagement at ACLJ. The Board of Education has received a demand letter to cease the implementation of prayer at the commencement of its meetings. The ACLJ has offered to provide labor at no cost to the board to assist in the defense of challenges to the implementation of prayer. The ACLJ would not be responsible for any costs or awards against the board, but would provide legal labor support at no cost to the board. You have the engagement letter, which is attached to your materials. So the possible motion is to approve the Board of Education engaging the ACLJ to defend the Board of Education in regards to any challenges to the practice of prayer at the board meetings.
Ms. Maxwell?
Yes, Mr. Tidwell.
Jeff, do you think this will be a good motion to approve based on your interaction with these folks?
I think ACLJ, they are constitutional law is their specialty. That's what they focus on. They have a good deal of experience in that background. They're willing to take on this case at no cost to the board from a labor standpoint and provide free legal support for it. So I think that is a benefit to the board in this case. So ultimately, as one of the speakers announced, if there's a damage award, it will be the board's responsibility to pay it. But the ACLJ is willing to do the legal work to defend the board in regards to this at no cost.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Whoa.
Go ahead.
I get to speak.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vaughn, I did not see. I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna bring it back up again that I mentioned the other night. And you know, some of the old adages are, do you want to bring a gun, bring a knife to a gunfight? And I feel like that's what's fixing to happen to us. The second thing, as I said earlier, I think we need to move probably $1 million over to our defense, our legal fund, either out of ending fund balance, and I can address that under other business, I suppose, during the budgetary comments, whatever. But I think we need to make some type of effort and put the county commission on notice and the budget office on notice that we are subject to paying legal fees or damages or something if we do lose this case. And the third and final point I'm going to make, beware of anything that's free, especially legal fees. That's just my experience being in business over 40 years in this county. Don't deny these people are good, but again, if this board is elected to get us in a fight, we need to go in to win, and we need to have the best people possible on our side. So, engage them or don't engage them, I'm going to vote against it.
Okay.
All right, this is a motion to go ahead and approve the engagement of the ACLJ. Mr. Vaught? Mr. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mrs. Darby?
Yes.
Ms. Sharp?
Yes.
Mr. Tidwell?
Yes.
Mrs. Rosales?
Yes.
Mrs. Maxwell?
Pass.
Majority wins.
Next, we have engineering and construction.
Rockville High School synthetic field turf request. Principal Steve Lucas requesting to have synthetic field turf installed adjacent to the weight room. The request is being donated by Warner's Athletics with an estimated value of $25,000. Engineering Construction has reviewed the request and has no objections. Recommended motion to approve the Rockville High School synthetic turf request as presented.
Any comments, questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Sharp.
Second.
Ms. Darby, I'm so sorry. Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 2.
Engineering construction request to increase R.G. Anderson's contract for Smyrna High School. Engineering and construction requesting to increase the contract for R.G. Anderson in the amount of $200,171.20. These funds will be utilized to replace the remaining corridor ceiling tile and grid in the existing building. These funds will be shifted for remaining balances in the overall project, and no additional funds are needed. Recommended motion is to approve the Smyrna High School ceiling replacement request as presented.
Yes, Mr. Vaught.
Well, I was going to move for approval, but I think
You had a finger up, I thought.
yielded.
Ms. Sharp, did you have something you want to say?
I was going to say, move to approve. You do that.
I'll second. I'll second. That's
Thank you, Ms.
fine.
Sharp.
I've got a question.
And thank you, Mr. Vaught. Okay.
Did I understand that this is a movement of money, and we anticipate the same thing for Oakland and Riverdale also? It's kind of a cleanup.
There could be some, I don't anticipate it to be ceilings.
Okay, but there is some housekeeping measures, I guess
Yes, sir,
would be
yes.
what I would call this.
Yes, sir, there probably will be, yes.
Good deal. Thank you.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 3.
Yep. So we have the Lee Road property, the appraisal on the prospective school site on the Lee Road.
Nope, Smyrna.
Oh, man, I skipped the Smyrna gym, sorry.
Happens to me.
I just made eye contact with Mr. Reed, and I just went ahead. Smyrna Middle Gym scoreboard request, Dr. Takesha Ferguson requesting to enter a contract with Wilson Bank and Trust to fund the installation of a new scoreboard in the gym. The donation cost is $8,695 and will be at no cost to the board. Mrs. Ridley has reviewed the agreement and has no objection. Engineering Construction has also reviewed the request and has no objection. Recommended motion is to approve.
Any comments or questions? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Sharp.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Vaught. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Now we're into
Now I want to move to
Mr.
that one.
Reed.
Let me go ahead and read. Lee Road property, the appraisal on the prospective school site on Lee Road has been completed. The property is appraised for more than the purchase price under the contract. The next phase of examination of the property will be survey, geotechnical, topographical, environmental, and other routine studies to determine whether the site is suitable for a prospective school site. Recommended motion is to proceed with the study and testing of the property.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Ms. Rosales. Yes, now we'll go to comments.
Thank you. What's the purchase price, since the appraisal was more?
The same.
Ain't giving any more.
88,000.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
Because
we're not giving them any more.
Yeah, the purchase price,
change.
80,000.
We locked in that
that's fine.
rate.
Yeah, that's fine. I just.
It hasn't changed since the other night, has it? Same as the other night, didn't it?
Yeah, we went into
Correct, yes.
contract, and that's the price that we went.
No, I just wanted, because it said the appraisal was more, I just want to make sure.
That's where we went.
So I support it. I just want to know how much we're going to spend.
Wait, I've got a question.
Mr. Vaughn.
Dre, when you get into testing and all that kind of stuff, there's a set of stipulations you follow, and I think we kind of talked about that. The firms that you engage, do they bid on this, or are these at-will people that do survey, geo?
I have multiple prices on every test.
Yeah.
And I've received the last one today, so I have not done my analysis to determine which firm we're going to use, but we have 3 firms that have bid on everything, and we will make an analysis, and we will use the one that has the lowest and best price.
Because this is a long-term relationship, assuming we buy the property, assuming we build a school or 2 or whatever we build down there. This is a long-term relationship with whoever this engineering firm, geotechnical firm.
That's a different engineering firm. We could potentially use one of these firms as civil engineers.
Okay.
There are firms out there that specialize doing just testing.
And that's where you're
And that's
headed with
where
it.
I'm headed,
Okay,
with
all right.
just the testing. Now, typically when they have been awarded the testing for a project, they typically get the oversight for the grading portion to make sure that there's nothing kind of fishy going on. They don't do the design, but they do the testing for it. So there is some incentive typically in this business for them, if they're low, they're anticipating getting the oversight of the grading when it comes.
That's what I want to make sure, that was the approach here.
We also rebid that testing as well.
Just to be...
That's a separate contract.
Just to be prudent.
Yes, sir.
We're dotting i's, crossing t's.
Yes, sir.
Managing the taxpayer dollar as close as we can right now.
Yes, sir, we are.
Thank you.
Are they local? Those companies, are they local?
One of the bidders is across the street. So yes, sir, they're all, they're not all in Rutherford County, but yes, they are local. Brentwood, Nashville, and right across the street.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Before we start with the bus contract portion, I have been asked for a 5-minute break. Thank you.
just ordered a Dr. Pepper.
And we're back. I have looked at these, and I believe for each one of these, we need to take a look at them individually and vote on them individually.
Madam Chair, can I ask a question before
Yes,
we get
Ms.
started?
Darby.
Dr. Sullivan?
Yes.
I know you touched on this, and forgive me because I don't remember, just so that we know before we even start this conversation, is there room to postpone any of these decisions if we need to?
Only if we have a special called meeting somewhere in between.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Well, go ahead and discuss that, because you and I had talked before the meeting, because a couple of people have approached me, said, do we have to do it tonight? You know, we are under an obligation by the private act to send a budget number to the Budget and Finance, Health and
Correct.
Ed.
Yep.
It's got to go through the process. So we've got up till, what did you tell me?
May 15th.
But we've got graduations that we're shuffling meetings around and all that, correct?
We do, and we also have myself and the finance director and the rest of our staff and our schools who are waiting to know what we're doing in transportation to see what other things we need to do with our budget. And so it is the kind of linchpin, if you will, for the rest of the budget.
Effect.
Absolutely.
So really putting it off is not going to help us a whole lot.
If we put it off any further, then it's just
Okay, that's what I
crunch
thought.
time.
I kind of told everybody, I thought, you know, we've been leading to this, and I don't think putting it off is going to help us any.
I don't either. I don't think there's another
Just
solution.
discuss it all the way through, and let's try to make the best decision. All right.
Agree.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, we're in a money crunch, you know, and everything. We've got to make a lot of hard decisions. The first thing, I'd like to make a motion that we initiate the parent responsibility zone, K through 5 to be 1 mile, 6 through 12 to be 1.5 miles, and that's for everybody. And that will help us some. So,
Do we have a second? I'll second it. Okay, now we have a second. Yes, Ms. Sharp.
Are you talking about across the district?
yes.
Because I thought what was on the table was just Blackman, Blackman, Smyrna, Laverne, no title schools.
Have we got
The numbers that you have are either all across the district or all across the district, no title. That's the only two numbers I've provided.
Okay.
Yep. I just mentioned those would be the most impacted because those are the most together schools.
Ms. Maxwell?
Yes, Mr. Tidwell.
Just for clarity, the motion, does it exclude Title I schools, or does it include Title? You said all schools, so I'm assuming that includes all.
Everybody.
Okay.
And that would be the greatest cost savings, correct?
Correct. That is on what Mr. Lee calculated the other day. And again, this is rough because we don't have each one drawn close to $3 million.
This is what's in our email, right? We don't have it in the packet tonight.
Correct.
All right. Yeah. So if somebody go back and review actually what those numbers are, I think.
Budgetary, it's $3,080,000.
$3,080,000.
Yes, sir.
All right. And that was approximately how many routes?
44, not routes, buses.
Buses.
Those buses run multiple routes.
I get my semantics wrong sometimes.
That's why I want to be clear, because it does matter.
So it's how many buses total?
It's roughly 44.
44 buses.
Based on current zoning.
Okay.
Yes, Dr. Sullivan.
And I think it's important that when we talk about parent responsibility zones as a district, we're not advocating or stating that those are walk zones. We're saying they're parent responsibility zones.
How does this align with other districts, the city of Murfreesboro's district? How does it compare to all of those? Do you have anybody have any information related to that?
Knox County does this exact same way. City of Murfreesboro's PRZ is, I think it's a mile, but they're K5.
And they include title, though. They
I
still,
think they do include title.
yeah. I think our difference with some of our title is that one of the ones I know that Ms. Sharp talked about the other day is a title school. So we could definitely, I guess, hand pick a couple of those, but that gets a little strange. And I know the school that I opened, Rocky Fork, is soon to be titled, and that title school and that subdivision is right beside the school as well. So,
And I'm speaking for you guys, but sometimes title changes. So a school could be a title school.
Every year.
Like exactly what you're talking about. Rocky Fork currently is not, but they're probably going to be. And the conversation we had, that one, we had really good participation with the developer, and we connected all of our sidewalks. So if it goes title, then that one gets excluded if you exclude title. It becomes very difficult to pick and choose neighborhoods. That's my thought.
Ms. Sharp,
In trying to
Ms.
break it
Darby,
apart.
rather. I keep calling you Mr. Sharp. I'm so sorry.
Oh, we'll answer down here.
All right, Ms. Sharp.
Yeah, but just point down here, one of us talk.
Something that I kind of wanted to just bring up, the main reason that I brought this up was to try to keep funding in transportation to provide more money to our current contractors. So I'm wondering if the board would be favorable to maybe moving this down in order after we discuss the amount of money to see if the money from doing the PRZ is needed. If it's not needed, this may not be something that we need to implement right now.
Okay. So you want to?
Ms. Maxwell.
Yeah, I was gonna say-
So are you making a motion to move it down right now? Are you moving it from
Well,
the first?
there's currently a motion on the floor
Oh, I'm
that's been
sorry.
seconded, so.
Excuse me.
You want, are you agreeable to moving your motion till the end here after we find out what the amount is?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be the same.
And I've seconded it, so I agree with it too, so, okay. So let's go to school bus liability insurance.
I think this has been discussed quite a bit. Liability insurance, when we put this bus contract motion, because it has to be published 5 days in advance, we had school bus liability insurance request to risk management to include bus contractors under new policy. Consider our own BOE liability policy, offer stipend to bus contractors, provide their own liability insurance. And I think that also kind of connects to number 3 as well. So the board has options. Mr. Reed, if you want to come up and address as well, any updates that have changed, or if anything has changed.
I don't think anything is, we've talked about this a lot and talked about it a lot Tuesday night. As you know, the law, was changed a couple of years ago requiring bus contractors to get their own insurance. The county had provided insurance for the bus contractors for years. That's always kind of how our county's done it. With respect to the bus contractors, the state law changed and required that the bus contractors obtain their own insurance, and that's what the law has been up to just a couple of days ago. So Rutherford County, as they do every year, they are required to go out and do an RFP for the county's insurance program. They did that many weeks ago based on the law that was in place at that time. And the law in place at that time did not allow the county to carry insurance on the contractors anymore. So when the RFP came in, the RFP did not provide for insurance for the contractors. We asked risk management to go back to, we had one firm responded to the county's risk management RFP, and the risk management office went back to them multiple times, asked if they would provide coverage for the bus contractors. And told them we would like you to do that, but the company was not willing to pick up coverage for the bus contractors. So our current policy that we have in place for bus insurance expires June 30th of this year. So there's no options to extend. It just is, it's an insurance policy expires. Once it expires, it's gone. So given with respect to where we are with needing to get insurance in place by July 1, we've got budget requirements by May 15th. Really, we don't have any other option but to go ahead and proceed with the alternative of bus contractors obtaining their own insurance, which is what the law had been all through this year up until maybe just a day ago or till Tuesday when the legislature went out of session. So, so this current contract you have before you for your consideration, your package, does provide for the contractors to be required to maintain their own insurance. They name the Board of Education as additional insured. But to help them with that cost, because the board has recognized that as an additional expense on them that they have not historically borne, we have added in the contract a provision for the bus contractors to be paid a stipend of $4,000 per bus to help them with the cost of insurance. Based on the estimates of insurance that I had obtained and been submitted to the office here and to many contractors, we thought that is a good median amount that should be ample enough to pay for an insurance policy under today's rates, under the terms that we're proposing in the contract. So, so the contract you have before you does propose this change with respect to insurance, with respect to and the contractors being required to maintain their own insurance. I did, based on this new legislation that we talked about Tuesday night. The new legislation has been approved as of Tuesday, I believe. I don't know the bill has even been signed by the governor yet, but it has gone through the House and the Senate and been passed by the House and Senate. Assuming it does get passed by the governor's office and signed off by them, the law may be different going into next school year. So I've added language to this contract which allows the school board that in the event we can, as a county, can once again provide insurance for contractors to allow us to go out and try to obtain it, see what the cost of that would be, see if it's feasible, and if the bus contractors and we are agreeable to doing that, maybe going back to the way it has been. So, but for now, with the time constraints we have, we don't have the luxury of waiting because we didn't have insurance in place and we need to know what the budget's going to be here by July 1. So this contract does provide for the bus contractors having their own insurance. It provides them a $4,000 stipend for each bus to help pay for that, so they're not out of pocket the cost for that insurance. And it provides that going forward, that we'll relook at that and try to see if we can go back to the way it has been with respect to the county providing insurance on the buses. So those provisions are all built into this contract.
Ms. Sharp.
Thank you. I don't think that we need to wait around to see if Governor Lee's going to sign this bill. I think he's going to sign it. And from talking, there's no reason for him not to sign it. And from talking with multiple contractors, this insurance and making them get their own insurance is a deal breaker. So it's kind of a moot point. My motion would be for us to go back to risk management, ask them to edit the RFP and get that. There's no reason it would take them 2 or 3, 30 days or 60 days to rewrite that. All they need to do is take the RFP, send it back out, and let's see if we can get the money. We've already got the money set aside for the stipend. We can use that money to fund the insurance.
Do we have a second to her motion?
We just can't sit around and wait for Governor Lee to do the bill, and we can't sit around and wait to see what else is going to happen. We've got to do a 2 or 3 pronged approach on this, because we can't run the date out and then we're up against the hard wall. But the contractors are telling me they're not going to provide their insurance, and where are we going to be? Listen, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't want somebody to be able to come back and sue me and take my life's work away. So Mr. Vaughn is right.
No clapping, or I'll have you removed. We've got a lot on our plate tonight. No clapping, no jeering, nothing.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Vaughn is right. We've got some hard decisions to make, but we also have to come out of here where everybody is still wanting to work together. And we've got to, this is going to be a delicate balance, but we can't sit here and run out the clock. So that's my motion.
Ms. Maxwell.
But Mr. Vaughn, he said he wanted.
Do we have a second or not? Okay, we don't have a second. Yes, Mr. Vaught, and then you, Mr. Tittle.
All right, now, to kind of go back and review, and Ms. Sharp, I appreciate your comments. Those are the same comments they gave me 2 months ago. And I know a lot of them don't like the answer, but from my 2 meetings and my multiple meetings with Jeff and talking to other insurance attorneys related to this, the law is stated we cannot do it. They cannot tie to our policy, and it's not on our policy. So with due respect, Ms. Sharp, hoping and praying that an RFP gets out in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and a premium comes back and somebody will cover it, what if they don't? Then we've not made a provision within the contract. Blame this on me if you want to, but the only way I could see around this to justifiably compensate our drivers was to put a line item in there. And Jeff and I, along with budget and finance, the people at the courthouse, if it does get changed, and Kim and Kim Earps, who I'm talking about, in the committee, we've been talking back and forth for 2 months. We're going to get the bill passed. We're going to get the bill passed. I still hadn't seen the final copy of the bill myself, and furthermore, I'm not the attorney present here that needs to interpret what the law says. I know what CTASC has said. I know what TSBA, you got the information from them, right? Wasn't it you? So we've got 4 different sources of information that says we cannot do it, but we have one bill possibly that says we can do it. So I don't feel like it's prudent to send a budget to the courthouse that does not have an A plan and a B plan put in it. We know if we give them a stipend, they have the choice to go buy their insurance. If they don't want to get liability insurance, if that's the way the final contract reads June 30th of this year, whatever this board ends up presenting to the drivers, they have the choice not to sign the contract. I hate that. I really do. There's a lot of them, as I've said, are generational drivers. A lot of them have driven for this county for 30 years. I didn't change the law, okay? So I hope all of y'all understand that. Some of you have been very vindictive to me, okay? And my hide's pretty thick. Melinda Brown knows that. She's grown up with me. I can take a lot of punches. But I have been the biggest advocate for them to try to protect them, to protect the kids of this county, to protect the taxpayers of this county. I'm fine with it. If we can find something that's affordable, but for us to wait is not financially prudent. So that's the reason this line item's in there. If you want to take the line item out, not give them the $4,000, that's fine. Throw that out here as a motion, but you saw what happened. So I would offer a motion that we, in this new contract, provide $4,000 per bus with the buses that have been in service this year. And the reason I'm looking at you right now is because there's going to be spare buses that need to be covered. And if they've not been on the road this year, have not passed inspection, we don't need to pay that premium to them, if that makes any sense. I had this great fear night before last. Hell, I could see everybody dragging buses out of the weeds and trying to get insurance on them in case they needed to use them. But they need to be buses that have run this year or been used this year. So that would be my motion, to put the $4,000 out there. And I'll come back with another motion talking about the RFP. But let's get this done first, and we'll talk about the RFP in a second.
Mr. Vaught, I'll second your motion.
None taken.
Ms. Sharp, your mic's not on.
Sorry. I was talking about Rutherford County going out and resending the RFP, not Rutherford County Schools. And many of the bus drivers have told me that the $4,000 isn't going to be enough. So where does it stop? And if we I wasn't saying just do that. I'm trying to chip away of all the things that we need to do and do some things in tandem.
That's the reason I presented this to the board Tuesday night, kind of as a three-pronged approach. If you want to pull everything out of the contract, we can go through the contract line item by line item or paragraph by paragraph. This appeared to me, after meeting with the committee and talking to, again, probably 25 or 30 other owner-operators, contractors, this is what it came down to. The rest of the stuff we kind of worked through and done and taken care of. But the liability insurance is the first thing I felt. Well, actually, I thought PRZ, if we did that first, it maybe would free up some money that we could have the opportunity to deal with the $4,000. Because this is $1.3 million, $1.4 million that I'm talking about right here, really. So, I mean, this is, but we can't, you know, there's got to be something out there. I feel very strongly about this. If you don't want to offer it to them, it's okay. We can put it in their pay raise, and, you know, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But this was my recommendation. I'll own this part of this discussion right now.
And he made a motion, and I seconded it.
Restate it.
Okay, restate it, okay.
Dawn, can you restate it? I think it was basically that we include the $4,000 stipend for every bus that has been utilized this year. And I assume, Trey, you've got a list of some kind?
Transportation Department does.
Yeah, I said you, transportation.
Okay. Mr. Tidwell, I think you were up next.
All right, yes, thank you. I'm going to try to, what I'd come in here with tonight was an idea that is going to require some discussion. But I want to try to marry both of those ideas right there, which is, I agree with Stan. I mean, it looks like, I mean, just the way it's been presented, that it is not going to get done in time for school start. It's not going to get in time. We got to have something to send to budget as well. We can't just be guessing at it. So we can move forward with the $4,000 stipend. The additional part that I would add in there is I'm looking at the raise increase and I'm looking at everything as a total cost over 4 years because this is a 4-year contract. So my thought was, all right, if we do the stipend, it's $1.4 million a year. Did that times 4, it's $5.6 million. Previously, when these contractors were on the county government insurance, that was over 4 years. It was about $250,000 roughly a year. So about $1 million. So it is costing the county $4.6 million more to carry basically or close to the same amount of coverage. We don't want that additional cost. They don't want the coverage they're having to go out and the liability that comes with that. So as I've stated many times, neither side is the winner. However, where we are at now against the timetables that we have, if we move forward with the 4,000, that gives us something to roll with, and we don't know what the RFP is going to come back. But if the RFP does get pushed out, which we should push, then most likely, maybe not this year, I can't say for sure this year because it's going to be separated from the county insurance, whether it's going to be higher or lower than that $1.4 million stipend we're given. But most likely in year 2, year 3, year 4, it will be combined with the county government insurance as a total package as it has done years and years past, and there will be drastic savings versus what we're paying year after year. So with that in mind, my thought would be that we include in the contract that if bus contractors are allowed back on the county insurance, that the board and the contractors may enter back into negotiation, which Reed mentioned this a little bit earlier, but that we would split any savings between the contractors and the county, because our costs have went up with this stipend, and they want to be back on the county government as well, and then also that saves some money in negotiation of the raise. It is not a guarantee. I understand that. I know that. However, if we're looking at all the potential options and the liability, they want to be on the county government insurance. It's better for us to have them back on there. Whole lot more likely for it to happen 2, 3, and 4. But if there is a carrier that will pick up the bus contractors in general with the RFP, then that would be the best marriage total. So does that make sense? That's a lot, but does that make sense to everybody?
Ms. Maxwell?
Ms. Darby was next, and then I'll get to Mr. Baldwin, and then you, and then you. Sorry.
I'm just going to speak on what I've been diligently trying to get an answer to, which feels impossible at this point, just because I would like for y'all to know what's going through my head. I've spoken to a few different attorneys. I'm still waiting on one to get back to me that specializes in insurance, because he was like, I need to go further down this rabbit hole and figure this out. I have some attorneys telling me we legally cannot provide them their insurance, and I have some attorneys telling me that we can. My biggest concern is if we move forward providing the insurance and it is later found that that is not legal for us to be providing. If you end up in a lawsuit and then someone goes, you legally weren't supposed to be carrying their insurance, you guys are going to be found with no insurance at all. And that's deeply concerning for me, because I don't want anybody in that position. So I feel extremely stuck in this situation because I can't seem to get a clear-cut answer on whether we are legally allowed to provide that insurance, which leaves me in a really hard predicament, because I don't want to lose our contractors. I also don't want to expose them to more risk than necessary, and I don't want to expose our district to any more risk than necessary, which is one of the reasons why I asked if it was possible to put it off at all, just because if we could get a few more weigh-ins on the legalities of the insurance, I would feel better about it, because right now I just feel extremely conflicted. I do like your idea, though, Mr. Tidwell.
Mr. Vaughn.
One thing I guess I need clarification with, it's my understanding that the bus drivers, they cannot, if the county, if they put them back on there, the insurance carrier wouldn't approve it. Is that correct?
Mr. Vaughn.
You asking me?
Mr. Reed.
Every year, risk management sends out an RFP for insurance coverage for the county as a whole. This year, they had only one company respond to that, which actually is the current provider who is providing insurance this year. But that company is no longer willing to provide coverage for the bus contractors.
I thought
so we don't have, so there's nobody who has, the county does not have any insurance company today willing to pick up coverage for the contractors.
So where we are today, if I understand this correct, the bus drivers aren't going to sign the contract on the $4,000 stipend. We can't carry them on our insurance. So I don't know any other choice but to park them, because you know, what's the solution? Insurance won't, I don't know.
State law does require buses, school buses, to have insurance.
Right.
To operate.
Yeah, Ms. Rosales.
Yes, thank you. It seems like we're stuck in a hard place with this insurance, because even if we were to move forward right now, we don't have insurance. The county doesn't have insurance to give to the buses. So, and the second thing is that May 15 is literally around the corner, and not only that, Dr. Sullivan and Brian Runyon have to finish the budget. I mean, when I walked in today, they were there working on the budget, trying to figure it out. And so a lot of it is predicative of what's happening. I don't like this choice, but for right now, I think your option is a little bit better solution to say, let's move forward with the stipend, $4,000, with the contract amended, like you said, where we can revisit the insurance when risk management goes back and look and see if they get an RFP with insurance carrier that is willing to carry the insurance for the bus contracts, because right now the carrier is not even willing to carry it. And if that happens, then that $4,000 that we were going to give them goes back to us, and it goes to the county.
But the
We can't do that? Oh, go
Mr.
ahead.
Tidwell
Is
asked
that-
for it to be split between contractors and the county.
Okay, so it's going to be split between the county, and so we will still get the $4,000 to them?
I'll let him explain.
That's where
Yes.
that will be confusing.
And then I'll go to you, Ms. Sharp.
Can I?
Yes, Mr. Tidwell.
Okay. Yeah, similar. Yeah, so the stipend would stop if the negotiation happened. And the difference between that $4.6 million that it's costing us to do the same thing we've always been doing, we would split that between the contractors. So the stipend stops, so there's no more move forward with that. It's on a prorated deal. At whatever point the RFP comes in and has it, this is all contingent on it being lower than what was previously, lower than the stipend. If it's not lower than the stipend, then that wouldn't make sense for us to then pay additional monies. But if it's lower than the stipend, which historically it's been significantly lower, then it's a marriage in which everybody's ideas up here could potentially work out. So the savings could be quite significant as long as it's picked up through RFP. If nobody picks it up, the stipend's in place. That's really all we have at this point.
Ms. Sharp.
Okay, thank you. So I've got 3 questions. Mr. Runyon, if we give a $4,000 stipend, how is that taxed? Is it like a bonus where there's a higher tax rate to it? Because that may be something to consider as well.
It would just be as if, because they're contractors, we would be cutting them a check for $4,000, just as if we were cutting them a check for their driving. So it's not going to be taxed any different.
Yeah, that's not what I've been hearing.
Ms. Max.
Can I go, whoops, I'm sorry, you had.
2 more questions.
Yeah, I got 2 more questions. So, did the RFP that the county sent out include buses? Because I'm being told that it did not include buses. Okay. So number 3, why would the insurance carrier not put the buses on? Is that what you wanted the question, Mr.? Yeah.
That's a risk management question.
I didn't hear your third question.
Why would they not carry the buses? Was that what you wanted? Did they give you a reason?
They did not, I did not talk with them directly. I understand they were just not willing to pick up that liability and that risk, that coverage this year,
So who do we talk to if the buses weren't on the RFP? How did we get to the no?
Historically, risk management, every year they're putting an RFP for insurance coverage. So in years past, they have had the bus contractors on there as part of the package when they bid it, because that's what the law had allowed. The law changed, and based on the new law, which prohibited that, they issued the RFP based on the current status of law then. The insurance companies, there are multiple insurance companies to review it and decide whether they're going to quote it or not. It's a very extensive process. It takes 30 days or more for insurance companies to get the RFP, get their information together, get their premiums together, quotes together, run loss reports, how many claims have people had last year, all that information together to give you a rate for the coming year. So it's a great deal of work for an insurance company to respond to an RFP the size of Rutherford County. It's not as simple as someone quoting a car insurance or insurance on a house. It's a very complicated process, and a lot goes into it on behalf of both our risk management department for the county and for these insurance companies who bid it. So the one insurance company who bid the package this year responded to the request for the RFP that did not have contractors in it, based on that because that's what the law was then. And we went back to the one company who responded to the RFP and asked them to add the contractors to it. And they simply said they're not willing to write insurance for contractors. And I even asked under what can pay them more money? Can we pay them additional premium? Is there something we can do to get insurance coverage for the buses? They're simply not willing to write coverage for the bus contractors. So,
but at that time, the law was still standing, and there was no. The
law at that time, when they quoted it, did not allow them to pick up coverage for bus contractors at that time.
So there's nothing saying that we can't go back.
But we have gone back to them after saying we expect the law to change, which we told them, and asked them, based on the prospect of this law changing, we want you to provide insurance coverage. And they basically said, no, we can't do anything. It's a private insurance company. There's nothing we can do to force them to provide insurance coverage for us. So, you know, and we talked about the option of doing a separate RFP. Risk management, it will take a minimum of probably 30 days for any company to respond to the RFP we sent out today, because that's how complicated they are to respond to these things. Because they look at your claim history, run loss reports, history for years, and it's not a simple process to get something quoted for an insurance policy of this type. It's going to be easier to get it quoted in the context of the county as a whole when you go bid the whole county package out, because then it's just a little piece of the overall picture, and they historically have been more willing to quote it in that context.
Okay, Mr. Vaughn.
So really what, you know, like I said, we're talking about insurance or no insurance. Nobody's going to take it. And if $4,000 is not good enough, I mean, I don't know what else we can do. County says we're not going to take it. They can't take it. So, you know, it's either they take, bus drivers take $4,000 and get the insurance about it, or we don't have any bus service. I mean, to me, that's simple.
Ms. Maxwell?
Yes, Ms. Rosales.
Thank you. So risk management will have to rebid the whole thing again no, they just have to bid it. We just have to redo it, send an RFP with just the bus contracts on it, that's it? You don't have to redo the RFP?
Mr. Vaughn.
I don't want to banner her, but if it's all right.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
And again, I don't want this to be the Stan Vault show. It's not. I've just got, you asked me to be the liaison.
Yes.
I've met with them. Yes. I've met with risk management. I've talked to 10 different insurance companies. I've talked to 7, 8 different lawyers. Katie was good enough to get TSBA to respond to it. I've got opinions from CTAS. I don't know who else to ask, okay? But I have promised the bus drivers I would continue to press forward with this. And actually, Ed Avon, Risk Management, and Susan McQuarrie, Risk Management, they are, and I don't want to say as a personal favor to me, I think probably as much to Jeff as me, but they are already in the process of writing an RFP to put out. My motion behind this motion is going to be that we engage the county commission to engage risk management to put this RFP out, because this is a bigger decision than the 7 of us. They are our funding body. This also has to do with their insurance. We are a significant part of their insurance, of the overall county insurance. But if I remember right, don't quote me on this for sure, Scott Broden, I don't know that my numbers are exactly right, but I think it's $2.5 billion in property insurance, school buildings, courthouse, jail. There's over 900 other vehicles, ambulances, fire engines, police cars, private vehicles. I mean, you start looking at how big this thing is, it's huge. And so the kind of the personal discussion Ed and I have, and we grew up together and we've known each other for 60 years almost, is, you know, has the package gotten so big that the insurance committee needs to look at pulling it apart? Because it kind of disturbed me as a taxpayer, really, that only one carrier responded, right? So, and I'm not trying to do the county commission's job. And y'all have heard me say this before. It's like the tax increase. That's not my job. My job is to advocate for schools, support Dr. Sullivan and his staff, try to make good decisions with the money that we get. That's our job. But, you know, you stop and think about this. Okay, is there a different way to approach it? You know, should we look at just a carrier that would do the vehicles? Are there carriers that just specialize in transportation? Are there carriers that just specialize in buildings? Cybersecurity, right? We've just got through going through that. That's part of this insurance. And so I'm prepared. This is a point of discussion. I firmly believe we've got to make up that's the first thing we've got to do for the drivers, for the owners, operators, I believe, is we've got to make some type of preparation here. Some of them don't believe it. Some of them don't think I'm looking out for them. I don't care at this point, but I know from everybody I've talked to, and that being, some of the owners right now already have liability insurance, okay? Some of them already carry it, and so they're prepared. They're all ready. I know the association here represents 70% of them, but there's a lot of contractors that are already got the insurance, and they're going to probably continue driving for us, you know, whatever is put out there. They may not like the pay rate, and they may park the bus because of that, but they're not going to park it because of this $4,000 insurance. So that's the reason I say we've kind of got to put a number together to send it to the budget office. This is a starting point. Somebody wants to amend it and make it $5,000 or something like that. This was just a number I wanted to throw out there for discussion, because it was kind of the happy medium of the four different carriers I talked to and kind of how they priced it. But if you poll those people right over there, you're going to hear 20 different numbers.
So I'm sorry.
Hold on, Mr. Tidwell was next.
But I was,
Okay.
well, I was just saying really quickly, is that it just sounds like it's almost like a three-part thing. To move forward with a stipend of some sort and continue to press on for the RFP for the carrier, and possibly looking at coming to some kind of compromise where the following year the stipend could possibly be shared, the cost between both sides. That's what I'm thinking, where we may need to land.
Because here's my vision. Here's my vision about this, and I may be wrong. We're going to get this. This is not the contract. These are numbers we're discussing tonight to send the budget. The final contract that's approved, that is put forward to them to sign or don't sign, is, you know, we're probably June 30th, because we've got to do this subject to funding anyway. So this is about budgetary numbers tonight.
Okay. Mr. Tidwell.
I agree with everything that's kind of been set up here as far as how we're breaking it up into three separate parts. I mean, that's kind of the idea. The potential savings, I'm going to keep going back to the insurance and the RFP, and Jeff spoke to this a little bit. Yeah, they didn't accept it this year, but the law did forbade it at the time of the bid of the overall package. And so, you know, just from a construction standpoint, you know, there may be parts of the project that you don't really care to do, but there are parts that you can do good, so you're going to take the parts you don't want to do to add it into your full package. But if there's parts of the package that you like, and they come after the fact and say, hey, we want you to add this on, and you weren't willing to do that, you're less inclined to do so. So I think that the probability of the main contract, unless they end up breaking it up, which may be a better idea as well, but as a package deal, what it may end up being is a better likelihood that they're going to take the bus contract in together with the whole county, because it'd be part of the county package, year 2, year 3, year 4, most likely, as it has been all the years prior. What would happen this year, it's a little more tricky, because you're asking for a carrier of some point, of some kind, to carry simply the bus contract, which, you know, we don't know exactly the reasons that the current carrier for the county government rejected this, but there's certainly incentive. You talk about pressing them to do it. There's certainly incentive, because it saves the county money, it saves the school board money, provides the protection they're looking for. There's a lot of incentive for us all to work together and try to press on this. So I'm for it. I do want to add in the portion. I don't know if I should make an amendment on your motion or if we should just vote, but just that if it comes back, so if they when they put out the RFP, which we're going to press them to do, if it comes back September, October, August, whenever, the stipend stops. If the RFP is cheaper than the $1.4 million we're paying for the stipend stops, and any savings that are saved between what we were paying previously and the RFP would be split between the county and the contractors. That's the only difference there, because like you said, everything's going to kind of foil into the next topic, which is going to be the raises. But I think that is the only way we're going to find a compromise that benefits everybody. It's not a guarantee. So I'm saying that up front. It is not a guarantee, but that could really work.
So before we vote on the original amendment, which I second, about the $4,000 stipend, we need to go ahead and vote on Mr. Tidwell's amendment.
Made a motion yet?
Hey, I want to bet they'll remind you. You won't have to make that part of the motion. They'll remind you what you said. Oh, the other thing, and this is something, maybe just need to redo the motion altogether, but the other thing is that I believe the $4,000 needs to be made available immediately at contract signing. I don't know if, I see that number. I don't know if Michael Smith can cut those checks or whatever. But
Not in June.
Whenever, so.
There's no way in June because books are closed. In July, books will be closed too.
Yeah, whatever the first check writing day there is that they can do it in July. That would have to be coordinated with you and
It'd probably
budget office.
It'd probably be the end of July.
Yeah, whenever it is, just immediately. That I don't want to. In other words, I don't feel like that needs to be prorated out over the 10-month contracts. What I'm getting at. Let's provide that up front since this is a new expenditure for them.
Yeah, Ms. Stark, I was going to say if they want to combine their motions together.
I think you brought up a good point, though, because that's going to be concerning. If their insurance ends at the end of June and they have to get new insurance July 1st, but we're not giving them that stipend before then.
I think that's a part because we don't have the ability to write
I know
our own
that's
checks
not
under the Private Act.
But I'm just I mean, that's a valid concern, though, because I'm sure they're, with everything they've been talking about, with the increase of all their costs and everything like that, to ask them to have to go purchase that without giving them the funds ahead of time, if we can even work it all out.
I talked to county finance. We can get a check cut in June.
We can?
So we could get a check cut to them in advance of July 1.
Okay.
If they've signed the contract.
They would have to sign the contract beforehand.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Zell.
Yeah, so let's say hypothetical, we went and did this RFP, and for whatever reason, a new carrier shows up and says, hey, we're willing to do this. And we're giving them a check on June 30th or whatever. How will that play out? Because if they're saying they're going to...
Ms. Maxwell? Yes, go ahead. From a budget perspective, we're going to have to do a budget amendment, find the money to go ahead and pay the $4,000 up front, because that's not a budgeted expense. I'm in this year's current budget. Have it approved by the full commission by June 23rd. Somewhere hit some type of pay, but we'll have to talk to county finance. But it is it'd have to come out of this year's budget, and that is a completely unbudgeted amount. So,
okay.
It's a good point. I mean, it's totally a
Yeah, and that's the reason I don't want to tie a date to it. I don't, because this is, they get in the books, closing the books out, opening the books, people go on vacation, 4th of July holiday. I just know that they need it probably as quick as they can on the front end before the buses roll August, right? That's all I'm trying to suggest right here, is that we work with the courthouse to get this to them.
From a logistics standpoint, I'd rather know June, so that way I can move forward with knowing who's driving and who's not, so I can make other plans.
And honestly, I would too. I was wanting to do it at contract signing, but we would have to get permission from budget office to take it out of ending fund balance right now and then replenish it or something. I think there's a way to do it, but that you and Michael's going to have to work that out. I'm not going to speak for you guys.
Over a different budget fiscal year, we're going to have to work on things.
Because it's insurance for, sorry about that. It's insurance for next year coming out of this year's budget, which is going to skew the numbers.
There's going to be,
Right, so let's let the accountants do the accounting and let's just us try to set policy, is what I'm trying to do.
Okay, so we had an original motion.
Ms. Maxwell?
Yeah, okay.
Just for clarity's sake, if we talk about paying them up front, and the idea is that it is going to be cheaper when the RFP comes back than the stipend that we're currently giving, then we probably would need to have some kind of prorate in there because once you cancel your insurance to join the county insurance, saying the RFP comes back in favorable motion, then they can cancel and get a refund back on the premium they paid. So we would need to have some kind of prorate in there. Otherwise, we're really not starting until the second year, no matter what. So I don't know how y'all want to make these motions.
Well,
Did you
and
want
that's
to
the reason I say, well, and Caleb, I don't mean to be, cavalier about it or anything, but I think there's a lot of moving parts to this thing, and we're not back to, again, this is a budgetary thing tonight as much as anything. We can address a lot of this in once we get a final contract that is funded, we can address a lot of that in the contract. I think all of this is healthy discussion, but anyway, that's just my 2 cents worth right now. If we move forward past the $4,000, then we can talk about PRs, go back to PRZ or go to the pay raise or whatever then.
So you want to make a motion, or do you just?
I'm not going to make a motion to admit. We'll just vote on the 4,000, and then I'll probably make a motion. I think they want some kind of guarantee that we're going to heavily go in their favor, so we'll do it after.
Okay. Motion to give $4,000 stipend?
Motion to provide $4,000 per bus for buses in service this year. Stipend checks cut as soon as possible before July 1.
I don't even know if I'd put that date in there, honestly.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd put the date
Just
in there.
as soon as possible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Are y'all ready?
Yes.
All right. Mrs. Rosales?
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Tidwell?
Yes.
Ms. Sharp? Mr. Vaught?
Yes.
Mrs. Darby?
Yes.
Mrs. Maxwell?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay. I like 7 and 0. Okay. So next we're moving.
Ms. Maxwell, all right, I want to go ahead and tie this in behind that. Jeff, I might need your help up here. Help me figure out the best way to phrase this. But what we're trying to accomplish here is when an RFP goes back for the bus contractors only this year, of course, next year we're hoping it's in with the whole county budget, but this year, if it comes back as savings, more than the stipend money we're paying, which is $1.4 million, that the stipend will be prorated, because then they'll be moving to county insurance. And any savings will be split among the contractors and the school board. 50-50.
And obviously, if they're, the contractors who elect to do this would have to reimburse the unused portion of the stipend.
That's right, but that would be under the guise that I have not had anyone say that they'd rather have the stipend than be covered under the county insurance. So if the county insurance is favorable, yeah, they would have to reimburse a little bit, but it's not additional funds because they're going to get that money they paid up front back, at least a large portion of it, depending on where it's at.
Mr. Reed, could you read that before we?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I was confused.
Yeah,
That's why I called him up here.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. That'd be great.
Yeah. Give it a shot, Don.
All right, how about motion to approve once the stipend ends and the RFP comes back, including the bus contractors at a lower cost than we're currently paying, then there will be a 50-50 split of savings between the county and the contractors.
May want to change it to if the RFP comes back lower than the amount we were paying for the stipend would end at that point. So we're not waiting for the stipend to end because it's a year.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Darby.
Mr. Reed, would it be better do we need to, or would it be better to first make a motion to go out for RFP and get that voted on and off the table?
Yeah. I withdraw my motion if.
I think there was, I think that would be appropriate.
Okay.
Motion to go out for a new RFP for, do you want to word it? Go for it, Stan.
If you don't care.
Nope.
To send to the county commission, the county insurance committee, a request for an RFP for liability insurance for the current bus contractors.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you for cleaning that up. Thank you.
I think it's clean. Oh, good gracious. I was on a roll, Don.
I'll get you.
I move to send a request to the county commission and the county insurance committee through risk management to put out an RFP for liability insurance for our current bus contractors. For 2025, 2026 school year.
Nope, 25.
25, 26. What did I say?
I said 24, 25.
I don't know what I said. Thank you for cleaning me up. From July 1 to June 30th this coming year.
Mr. Vaughn has seconded. Yes, Ms. Sharp.
Yeah,
They'll send it.
I think we have to send it to everybody.
Y'all give me the names, I'll send it. I'll get Ed and them to send it. Sure thing.
Okay.
We can't.
No, no, sorry. Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Let's take a vote.
All right, Ms. Sharp? Mr. Vaught? Mrs. Rosales?
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Tidwell?
Yes.
Mrs. Darby?
Yes.
Mrs. Maxwell?
Yes.
Unanimous.
7-0 again. We're on a roll. Next, we move to.
Ms. Maxwell. Sorry, I got to come back in again. All right, did we get our motion kind of worded out? Jeff, yeah, I gave you a little extra time period there.
So I think it needs to say along the lines of this: if the results of the RFP allows the county to obtain insurance coverage for the bus contractors, and the cost of that insurance under RFP is lower than what the cost of the stipends are, then subject to an amendment being reached between the bus contractors and the Board of Education, that any cost savings realized as a result of having coverage provided by the county over versus what is provided by the stipend will be split equally with the bus contractors and the Board of Education.
Can I just say ditto? That is the motion I would like to make. Do I need to repeat that entire thing?
No.
That was very well said. That's exactly what I'm going for.
Excellent job. Ms. Darby, you seconding? Thank you. Ms. Darby has seconded it.
Now, I want to make sure I understand for sure. This is assuming that the RFP comes back after we've already paid them the $4,000, is what you're saying.
Yes.
If by a small miracle here, we get it back June 15th and everybody checks off on it and it's good and we don't even have to cut the $4,000 will be negated and we'll go with that. Right, I want to understand, and that's the way it
Mr.
is.
Sullivan would like to comment on that.
Sure thing.
It helps when you have a former auditor as your person too, or at least has been involved in auditing. We will not be able to do it before June 30th because you're paying for services from one fiscal year to the next.
That makes sense. That makes good sense. Okay. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Mr. Vaughn?
Yeah, what are we going to do if it comes back more than $4,000? Are they going to have to make up the difference?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion. We have it seconded. Let's vote.
Mrs. Darby?
Yes.
Mrs. Rosales?
Yes.
Mr. Vaught?
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Tidwell?
Yes.
Ms. Sharp?
Yes.
Mrs. Maxwell?
Yes.
Y'all are on a roll.
3 in a row. I'm so happy.
Let me talk about the mechanics of how that would work if that actually happens. So if we get an RFP number back and it's lower than what the county is spending on the stipend, then that will come back to you and you compare the numbers. The bus contractors will have access to that number too. we would have to come back and amend the contracts to provide for them to reimburse the county for whatever unused portion of stipends not been used for premium. And then you would then, the savings would be, they would get half the savings, and the other savings would stay with the Board of Education.
Yes.
Madam Chair.
So it will be a required amendment to come back from the contract. We'll come back before you. There will be another paper to be signed by everyone to effectuate that.
Yes, Ms. Darby.
Mr. Reed, and I have no idea how anybody feels about it, but I'm just going to ask the question. If it comes back that it's less, will a contractor have the option to keep the 4,000 and have their own, or is it an all or nothing scenario?
All in or nothing?
Yeah.
All in.
Yeah, I mean, we would have to, when you bid the package out, it would have to be an all or nothing bid. If a contractor chose to go ahead, as they do now, as some contractors do now, they still have coverage, they've had coverage.
Additional on top of.
They can choose to continue to do that if they choose to do it.
Okay.
Yes, Ms. Oh, you got the answer? Okay, okay. Okay, let's move to contracted services rate. Anybody want to make a
All right.
comment, motions?
Oh, Ms. Maxwell. Did you give me the floor? Okay.
Go ahead. You have the floor.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to make a motion. I have some explaining of how I arrived at this conclusion. I know that the county commission is not excited about this part. We also know that, or I also believe that the contractors have asked for way over what was, I thought, somewhat reasonable. However, we have to find a compromise somewhere, and we do know that their costs have went up. So here's my thought. There's been a lot of motions put out there. I think 10%, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5 was one of those. I'm going to make a motion for 17%, 2.5, 2.5, and 2.5. I had originally thought about making it at 15%, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, but here's the thing. This ties back in to what I think is most likely to happen based off the motions that we just made, which is the difference between, I'm looking at this as 4 years too. I'm looking end result. I'm not trying to do year by year by year, anything like that. I'm looking final result over 4 years. The difference between 15% upfront, 17% upfront is roughly $600,000. The likelihood that the county, when they bid back out the contract for insurance, if it doesn't happen this year, because nobody wants to hold the bus contractors by themselves, which I'm believing that's not going to be the case, but if it doesn't happen this year, it will be included in year 2 in the package itself. Very high likelihood that it gets picked back up into the budget. It's way less than the 1.4, and for years 2, 3, and 4, at the very minimum, there should be, based on historical evidence, significant savings, at least $3 million by the math that I'm doing here. We're only raising it another $600,000, so I'm going up further than what I initially had thought, but I think considering that we are trying to aim back to get them on county insurance and the savings that come with that will more than pay for the number. So that's, my motion is 17% the first year, 2.5, 2.5, and 2.5 the following years.
Second.
You have any comments?
Yeah,
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Mr. Watt.
Sorry. My initial thought is the 2.5, we had talked in one of the meetings with them, I had suggested, and I've talked to Budget and Finance about this, but I think nobody felt very comfortable about it. I watch the Consumer Price Index very, very close because it's relative to everything I do, insurance and interest rates and the cost of eggs and the cost of everything. I think one of the big things that we noticed in sitting down with all these contractors is that the price of buses disproportionately have gone up about 50% versus the consumer price index 24%, if I remember right, over the last 4 or 5 years. And so it's one reason I've kind of advocated pretty hard about a significant, increase. But I think on the backside, we hope, I think, that the current administration is going to be able to get inflation under control. But, this month's CPI index came out 3.4. I really think doesn't the current contract, and somebody answer me, wasn't it 5, 3, and 3, 3? Did I remember that right? It's 14 over the life of it. I guess I'm looking back at you, Trey, but it was
5, 3, 3, 3. No, 14 over the life of it. Yes.
Yeah. So I just, I think 2.5 is probably too little over the backside. I think maybe 17 is going to be too much on the front side for the county commission to swallow. I don't know. That's just, y'all heard me Thursday night. Y'all heard me Thursday night say that none of them have said that they're going to do some kind of tax increase. I don't, we can send it up there and see what they say. I mean, that's the worst thing, I guess, that can happen. But I think the backside is probably a little low. That would be my general discussion right now.
I don't want them to be left with 10%. I thought that was too low. But I don't know if I can do 17, not with what's coming down the point. And we don't know how the PR, we are definitely going to have to do PR zones. There's no way. We are in a hole, a deep hole. And I don't know what we can do. We've got so much coming on us right now, and the county commission, we have tried to hold the line. We knew this was coming, and we haven't been able to do that. I don't know if I can do 17. Go ahead, Ms. Darby.
Something that has weighed on my mind a lot. I think we all looked into the salary study very deeply. My concern is the conversation that's been going on about the amount of money and those types of things when it, to me, feels like when it comes to certain things, everybody's all about spending that money because those people are worth it. These people are worth it as well, and they serve our students as well. And so I think that that's something that shouldn't be overlooked. I also have concerns, and I have brought it up before, and Dr. Sullivan, this is in no way, shape, or form. I thought you did a fabulous job when we were at our retreat with you guys cutting a lot of things and cutting where you can. It comes down to a budget issue, and our job is to educate kids from K through 12. That is what we are charged to do. I do think there are probably more places we can cut. I don't know that anybody wants to, and I'm not saying that I do. But when you are spending money on things you're not required to do, and you want to tell people that you can't afford to give them the money they need to continue running their business to serve our students, to me, that's just a big conflict. So I think 17 is a nice middle ground. I know it's not what you were hoping for and not what you wanted. We don't have endless funds, though. I think 17 is probably more than other people would like for us to give because of our budgetary restraints, but I think if that means we have to go back and look at some other things, is it more important for us to provide transportation for the kids we're required to educate, or is it more important to have programs that people enjoy for students we're not required to educate? Among other things. We have a lot of great things in Rutherford County, a lot of programs, a lot of subscriptions, a lot of things that our teachers are utilizing that they love, and I don't want to take those from them. But a lot of these parents don't know how their kids are going to get to school if we don't have bus service. And if the kids aren't in the school, we don't have anybody to provide services to. So to me, it comes down to a budgetary thing, and sometimes you have to go back through that budget and look at things and kind of place them in a priority order. And maybe that means for a couple years you have to do without some of the extras that we've been fortunate enough to have as you build back towards that moving forward while you can.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. I had initially started at 17, but seeing all of the expenses and everything that they've had, I would like to see it be more, probably closer to 20%. But I will not support any PRZ zone in our title schools. Period.
Ms. Maxwell.
Yes, Ms. Tidwell.
I appreciate that. I'm glad we're having a discussion about it. I think it's good. I want to tell you guys how I got I think we could have found a happy medium. Probably everybody would have been excited about, well, not excited, but everybody probably would have been on board unanimous, I would assume, at 15%, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. However, the reason I went up to 17 is obviously we know that their costs have went up pretty drastically. But I want to paint this picture for you real quick. Just do some math with me right here. So the difference between 15 at the beginning, the last 3 years are all the same. The difference between the 15 and the 17 is $600,000. That's over 4 years. So, you know, quick math was $150,000 a year. The assumption is high likelihood that now with the law in place or amended, that the insurance will be included back into the county insurance and bundled as a whole. Something like Stan mentioned, they bundle it in separate ways, but they're bundling it in with more of the county insurance. Historically, the savings on that versus us paying a stipend each year would be over $1 million a year. So the likelihood, if we're just saying, forget it, RFP, it's not going to happen years down the road, you're avoiding a lot of historical precedent on that and the figures. And if I'm off by $500,000, guess what? That's still $500,000 a year in savings year 2, 3, and 4, and we're only going up $600 over 4 years, which is $150 a year. So I mean, to me, the math, it's better for us. It's better for them. They like this, the coverage they are desiring. It seems extremely likely to happen. So I don't want it to just be painted into a picture that I just randomly went up $600,000 for no reason. No, they probably, as Ms. Sharp said, they probably do need more. We do not expect inflation to be at these extreme levels like they have been over the past several years. So the next contract will probably look a lot different. But where we are currently, let's give them some stuff up front. The significant difference, like I said, it will be covered in the most likeliest of scenarios. Worst case, we're looking at being covered more so in year 2 to make up the difference of 1 and 2, and then year 3 and 4 are likely going to provide additional savings to the county and school board. So that's how I got to that conclusion.
Any other comments?
Ms. Maxwell.
Resolved.
All right, so I will not be supporting a PRZ, and I will give reasons why. However, I'm kind of leaning more with Stan that I think we need to go a little bit lower. I think we're too high, and we need to increase a little bit more the other years. If you were to do 15% and then increase instead of 2.5, 3.5%, that will give you almost a 25% increase over time versus 24.5%.
Between the two, from a fiscal perspective, Mr. Tidwell's is more friendly for the district.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the reason I brought that up, is that I don't want to make any misnomers here that inflation's running 3.5% right now. So the 2.5 is probably not going to cover inflation unless dramatic, unless we go into a recession or something like that, and then we go into a recession, we won't have 1,000 kids, 1,500 kids a year moving into the district, so we won't have to have as many buses or teachers. Our expansion won't be as great. So I don't know. All of this is subject to county commission funding anyway. As we've said earlier, I've disclosed to y'all the meetings that I've had, with all the stakeholders. I guess that would be what I would call them, the stakeholders, the powers that be, whatever, that, they fund it. If they don't fund it, it all comes back to us anyway. So anyway, we'll have to adjust. I'm curious, Katie, not to put you on the subject, but, if it does come, if the county commission, says y'all got to hold the line, where are we going to cut? Where would you start, or do you have, not to put you on the spot, but just curious right now. You got any ideas?
Like I said, I know there are a lot of things that we subscribe to that our teachers use and enjoy, but they're not, some of them are not necessities to be able to educate the kids. So you can start with some of those things. I know that it is super popular, and I'm not saying that I want to get rid of it, but we do have a pre-K program that we spend at least $500,000 a year out of our budget on, and those are kids that we're not charged with educating. I know it's helpful to parents, I know it's helpful to teachers and students, but my job is for us to do what's best for the kids that we're required to educate, which is K through 12. So there are places, I think, in our budget, and they're not big, they're gonna be small, but it could be multiple small places that you pull from to make that bigger amount to help make up some of that difference.
Dr. Sullivan, Ms. Maxwell?
Yes, Ms.
How much have we already cut?
Today I've cut $8 million to get us down to be $12 million in the hole. I'm just sitting here, Brian doesn't even know it yet. Lots. Today I hoped that I was down to 14 million in the hole, and I will tell you right now I have 6 million plugged in for bus transportation, and 17% is above that. Of course, whatever the board goes with is what is my job to then advocate for. But I believe that we have a June 30th board meeting on the table. I think that that's a possibility. But I will work with our staff. We continue to cut. I'm cutting everything I have.
The $6 million included that the $4,000 stipend?
Yes, the 6 million did, yes.
Mr. Ball?
Talk about the pre-K, about cutting that program. That's probably the most beneficial thing we do for kids. If we want to do what's best for kids, you ask any educator out there, you ask anybody, and they're going to tell you the value of the pre-K. So that's what I'm saying. When we look to cut things like that, please look and see what's best for the kids. That's our job. And I'll be honest with you, that's probably the best thing we do in Rutherford County. Every kid should have pre-K. I'm telling you, it's just success rate. Everything supports it. And, we can't fund everything, and we've got to, be fair to everybody, and that's everybody. We got an obligation to give a raise to the teachers. We're obligated, 2 years to be up to 50,000, and we got to do that. And so we've got to make cuts, and we got to do things that are prudent and what we can live with. And everybody's going to have to hurt a little bit, to be honest with you. So,
Dr. Sullivan?
I think it's important, whatever the board decides, that 2 things we put in the motion, that it is pending county commission approval of our school system budget. And then second, the county commission does not have line item veto power, so it would be sending it back the entire budget, and it would be up to us to then decide what we wanted to cut to adjust. So,
I have a question.
but I anticipate getting it to be able to find a way to get it approved. I hope so. We have a healthy enough fund balance. I know it's a horrible thing to be able to go into, but that's something we need to be united on.
So,
Mr. Zales?
Yeah, okay, so the $4,000 is it's $1.4 million.
Correct.
So then you budgeted $6 million?
I lied, I was at 5, didn't lie, it's 5, and hold on, let me pull it up. I'll tell you what we have in here. Brian, do you have it pulled up too? Give me just a second. And we just have placeholders right now, because we had recommended 10, knowing that that was probably low. Let me go to this big master spreadsheet real quick, and you may get to it before I do. Transportation amount, the increase.
Does Domino's deliver?
Brian will be more accurate than I am.
Recess and have a dinner or something.
Are you wanting the overall
Yeah, how
amount
much
of
do you have in
transportation?
increase in transportation right now?
Okay, hold on just one second. I have to go to a different tab.
You said, Dr. Sullivan, we're 12 million in the whole?
Brian still has us at 14.7 right now,
Oh.
but I'm at 12, because I've been cutting things over here.
As long as you haven't cut anything in transportation,
I have not.
it is what I currently have is $5.8 million
And that includes new routes.
from last year's budget.
Yeah, but that would include about 500,000
It's
for new
currently
routes,
year's
so we had about 5.3.
So that kind of puts it in between 15 to 17%. So it's like, because I took 5.8 million, subtracted 1.4, that leaves 4.4.
You subtract 500,000 for the 10 new routes.
What now?
Subtract 500,000 for the 10 new
Oh,
routes.
I guess
And
subtract
that's,
$500? Okay, okay, so.
Quick question, transportation is one of those line items that has to be shared city.
the whole thing has to be, so yes.
The whole thing or just the portion dedicated to?
The whole portion, the 141 does.
The whole portion, 141. So we're looking at a nickel on the tax rate, right? It's a nickel on the tax rate. So you're going to need to lobby your county commissioners for a tax increase of a nickel. And that's what I started out asking for
You sure
2
did.
months ago.
You sure
And that
did.
very
I agree
first,
with you
I said, give me a
100%.
nickel and make this work.
Ms. Maxwell?
Yes,
I would also just like to point out, again, that, yes, all the math that's been done is kind of more of a worst-case scenario. But in a more likely best-case scenario, the savings of getting the contractors back onto the county government insurance would be significant, at least $3 million starting from year 2, 3, and 4. I mean, just based off historical precedents for a long time. So when we're talking about these figures, yes, I agree. It's 17%. That's a big percentage. I think it's 26% increase over 4 years. I get this is not a common contract because we've not had a common run of inflation. So it's not the standard, but I just want to keep pointing out that this plan really hinges greatly on that if it goes back to county insurance, the savings are going to be more significant in the numbers than what we're talking about. So that's why I'm kind of holding that position there.
And I'm going to follow that up. I'm going to dive off in this, and I said I wasn't tonight. That's a 50-50 at best.
Yeah.
And here's why. Tort liability. The county commission and the insurance committee says they will not let us give that up. So I don't see any way around it. But if the powers that be at the courthouse say, let's do it, they want to give it up, because the numbers that have been shared with me is that we have paid out almost $5 million in claims this year alone. And the great fear that I have for those guys and this body and the taxpayers of this county, I'm driving down Nolensville Road 2 months ago. Just finished an auction, and I look up. We've all seen them, Morgan and Morgan. They get more money than anybody else. There's a case that was settled here against a Middle Tennessee company, $72 million. I do not believe that our 21 county commissioners will allow that to go unnoticed and allow this body or any other part of the county to negate that tort liability protection. So at best, don't convince yourself there's going to be a big savings here, because I don't think there is, Caleb. I'm being as straightforward and honest with you as I can. I said I wasn't going to dive off in that tonight, but that is scary. And and I understand why these guys don't want to carry it. I mean, when you see cases like that, but I mean, if there's a chink in our armor anywhere, there's insurance, there's attorneys, big groups of attorneys that are looking to poke a hole in it. And I'd hate to be the one to sit here and say, because of our actions, there's a $25, $50 million, I mean, hell, that's 5% of our budget on one settlement. So I would not be prudent right now if I didn't caution everybody on that one factor. So please don't convince yourself that that's going to come back as a savings, because I don't know. At best, it's 50-50 right now.
I don't think it's 50-50. I think it's probably 90-10, because they've already said that the carrier wouldn't take it. So, I mean, I don't know who they're going to get to bite off into it, but it's a lot of money. So,
Ms. Rosales.
Ms. Maxwell, I'm sorry. It is a gamble. We're banking that we're going to save money, and it's not a guaranteed. And right now, there's been a suggestion to make cuts to the pre-K program as an example, because it's $600,000 because we don't have to fund pre-K. Well, I don't look at it as something that we don't have to fund pre-K. For me, in being in the schools, I see a noticeable difference of kids that go through pre-K and go to kindergarten versus kids that do not go to pre-K, versus kids that go to pre-K and go to kindergarten versus kids that do not go to pre-K and enter in kindergarten. And it is vastly different, vastly different. And so, well, I'm talking right now. I've allowed a lot of people talk. Okay. And we're way off the agenda. No, we're not off of the agenda.
Ladies.
We're talking about making cuts to positions and staffing. And right now, I have been, since I've been here for 3 years in this position, all I've done is been trying to figure out how to be creative and generate more revenue for 3 years. I appreciate the board to come alongside some ideas, to go to the legislation, to figure out some differences with TISA funding and the formula because of the way that the BEP versus TISA is changed. We do not get funding now specifically for transportation in the BEP compared to TISA. So I've gone to them to ask to make some modifications. There's no appetite right now with the current legislation, for whatever reason, I can't speak for them, to make modifications. I thank you, board, for allowing me to present the idea of bringing a foundation, and thank you for approving it. Thank you for Ms. Maxwell to helping and generate a board so that we can use it as a fundraising tool to allow other businesses to
Madam Chair, point of order.
No, I'm talking. I am talking.
We really are.
You do not.
Madam Chair.
What I'm saying.
Stop.
I'm talking. This is not a point of order.
Could you please just bring it back to
I am going to bring it back to you. I'm going to bring it because
get there.
Yes, because right now we're talking about let's cut parental zone, PRZ. But I'm going to be honest with you, Ms. Darby, you own a transportation service.
I do not.
You do not now. But I don't.
Ms. Rosales?
Wait a second. We do not know if that transportation service,
Madam
if there's
Chair,
any
Ms. Rosales.
point of order that you're going,
Point of order.
that is a personal interest. And not only
Point of
that,
order.
but I've received an email
Ms. Roselle.
from 2020 that you were
Order,
trying
ma'am.
to get.
Take a recess.
Order. I would like a recess, please.
Then that's fine.
5
we can
minutes.
recess. But I think we need to understand why we're
with the provisions we talked about, because we're not voted on we voted on these little sections of the contract.
But we haven't gotten to the PR zones yet. Don't we need to do that first? Yeah, I'm going to do that first.
All right.
I just want to say I feel very strongly that we need to incorporate personal responsibility zones. Not that I want 5-year-olds walking down busy roads, but I feel like this is something across the state that is the norm. And we've gotten too large in our budget. Like I said, we're between $12 and $14 million in the hole now. And it's not something I like, but I think it's something that we have to do. Now I'll shut up.
I think it's important. I just wanted to clarify. So like when I'm talking about cutting the difference between the two of us, I'm over here taking like $100,000 out of medical insurance in different lines, which will impact like next year's offerings for medical insurance. Okay. $50,000 out of textbooks, $40,000 out of, those are where I'm making cuts from. So it's not like I just frivolously am going through here and removing $1 million here and $1 million. I wish that was here. So, sorry.
Yes, Ms. Sharp.
So we have the sheet. So looking at the sheet, Dr. Sullivan, we have a $13 million deficit, but these charter allocations will come back to us in October. We're looking at part of that money from this one that you gave us. Are we not looking at part of
No, ma'am, those will not. Those are actual students. So after that first year, those are their students they'll actually receive. So that will go to them directly.
Right, but we no longer have the children.
Correct. So that money goes to them directly. So those allocations are out of our budget. So we receive.
This is not included in this.
We receive in our TISA funding, so 300 and I think it's at the very top, 366. And then when it actually is allocated to us, they take the funding for Rutherford Collegiate Prep off for those students that they served this year. And so they served 419 roughly, we looked at it today. So they will get that money directly from coming off of us, which is fine because they serve those students, rightfully so. And then for the students that are served under American Classical in Springs, we at the County Finance Department cut checks to them. So these are actual students that existed this year.
So would the true-up be just the
new
grade?
one? Yeah, just the new grades.
So we've got $500,000 in coming back in October. If they true up the same amount, correct?
No, we will still not receive funding for that till the next year.
I thought with the new law that we discussed the other night, that.
We haven't seen that law yet, so that was news to me. I have not seen that yet.
Isn't there a law about truing up?
I was wrong. I looked it up. It did pass in one of the chambers, but it's still waiting to pass another chamber because I went back to check and make sure that it was. But the true up is just going to, the way it's going to be divided is still coming from the total number based on enrollment for the year before. Yeah. But the funding is going to be split before it comes to us what is owed.
Yeah, so that the 8.7 and the 397, like there's no issue. Those are students that are served this year that is generated for the 3 schools. No issue whatsoever. Those are kids that are there right now. It just, for some reason, TISA includes it in our number they send to us, even though it's a separate, the Charter Commission is a separate LEA. I have no idea why it's included. It just is. No clue.
Mr. Vaughn, you originally had a motion, and I seconded it, of instituting personal responsibility zones, K through 5 for a mile, and 6 through 12 for a mile and a half. For everyone.
Save $3 million.
Yeah. Let's do a roll call vote, please.
Whoa.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got to amend it.
Okay.
And I think this is a legitimate request. I had a neighbor of mine call today, and he's blind. He can't drive his kid to school, and he lives 0.9 from Las Casas. So I would offer a motion or an amendment that any parent that is forgive me if I state this wrong, Jeff, legally handicapped. I don't know exactly what I'm looking for here, the terminology. I don't want anybody gaming the system, but I mean, this guy, he can't drive. So how does he get his kid to school? So I would offer an amendment that anybody that's legally handicapped
Or disabled?
Yeah.
disabled,
or
is that what I want to say?
disabilities?
That's what
Yeah,
I'm looking
disabled.
for guidance.
Yeah. So any person with a disability, I don't know how we do that, but
How do I phrase that? Because I'm not talking about special ed or anything like that. I'm not talking about the kids. I'm talking about the parents.
Where the parent or guardian has a
Parent or
disability
guardian has a
preventing
dis-
them from providing transportation.
Yeah, that's what I'm after.
Butch, would you like to?
She just so eloquently stated that.
Yeah, you know, I think that person sort of fall under the special ed, wouldn't he?
It won't because the student doesn't have it.
Yeah. I mean, we could put them on the bus just like they are. Yeah, I think it's good.
Would you accept that in your motion, or you want me?
He said yes.
He said yes. Okay.
And
good.
I'll second, yes.
Yeah, okay, good deal.
Okay.
Thank
So can you read that back to us, please? I'm sorry.
Okay, so this will be motion to initiate a PRZ for K-5, 1 mile, 612 for 1.5 miles for everyone, with the exception of a parent or guardian who has a disability preventing them from
providing.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay. Any comments or questions before we vote?
I got to make one more statement. I know y'all tired of hearing me talk this week. I know this is not popular, but I think with this significant pay increase, and I'm not saying drivers don't deserve it. That's not what I'm saying. But I think for any of this I'm going to say something real ugly right here, for any of this to stand a snowball's chance in hell of getting passed through the county commission, we better do this, because this is a $3 million savings right here, and that takes care of about half of what we just spent tonight. So, you know, my vision starting at the beginning of all this was that, you know, maybe the bus drivers don't get exactly what they want. Maybe the taxpayers have to pitch in a little bit. Maybe we've got to do some things that we don't necessarily want to, but as Caleb or one of y'all said down there on the other end, that we've all pulled together tonight to try to make this happen, and this is a unifying voice for once, and that just tells you how important I think all of us believe this is.
I'll second that as well.
Ms. Maxwell?
Yes, Ms. Rosales.
I will not be supporting PRZ because, for safety reasons, there is infrastructure that is not conducive for children to walk. I'm going to use one school, Browns Chapel. There's no sidewalks there at all. It's on a country road. It's going to be very difficult for kids to walk home in elementary grades to get to there. Second of all, I do have concerns that there could be some personal conflicts here because it hasn't been disclosed what are the terms of agreement of a business that was sold, because this is going to benefit a third-party transportation service as well.
Mr. Tidwell.
Dr. Sullivan, if this were, I'll tell you, I'm on the borderline of it, but I'm just thinking through this, what it might look like. We have after-school programs.
Correct.
I'm thinking about,
Not at all of our schools, but I think there's the ability to expand that partnership. The Y is only at some schools. It used to be at more schools. It has dwindled. Boys and Girls Club Smyrna and Murfreesboro have after-school care. There's opportunities there, but as a district, there's there's definitely opportunities, but it would be up to those entities to increase.
but the potential for expansion.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm thinking two working parents here. I'm just working this through. Both of my parents work. Would it be possible, and what would it look like, maybe, from a financial standpoint, to expand the drop-off portion? So, for instance, parents, what is the typical drop-off time for elementary school? What's the early?
6:45.
Is it possible to bring that back even a little bit further?
We would need to pay a stipend because then you're out.
Look like, I'm just talking.
No, we don't have that. we're already well above the city of what we open our doors for in some places. And so we're offsetting some potential savings with increasing cost for another area.
I got you.
But I totally understand.
Madam Chair. Sure. Thank you. I will not be supporting it if it includes the titles, which all the titles are up in the Laverne and Smyrna area. When my son was at Stewart's Creek and I worked downtown, I had to be downtown at 8 o'clock. Even if I was the first mother or car rider in the line, it was still very difficult for me to get downtown by 8 o'clock. It's impossible. It's impossible anymore for you to go up 24 and leave at 6:30 in the morning or 6 o'clock and be downtown Nashville. It's impossible. And we do need to try to move some things around with the PRZ, maybe a half a mile for the elementary and a mile for the high schools, but don't include the titles because it's impossible. We're putting the parents in a really bad situation. And I know everybody needs to give a little bit, but we've got to find a happy medium with that. But I will not be supporting the PRZs as long as the title schools are involved.
Okay. Can we go ahead and vote, please?
We're voting the amendment? Can you restate?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. This is the motion to initiate PRZ K through 5 for 1 mile, 6 through 12 for 1.5 miles, for everyone with the exception where a parent or guardian has a disability preventing them from getting their child to school.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Vaught? Yes. Mr. Vaughn? Yes. Mrs. Darby?
Yes.
Ms. Sharp?
No.
Mr. Tidwell?
No.
Mrs. Rosales?
No.
Mrs. Maxwell?
Yes.
Majority passes.
Okay. Next, we move on to the COLA increase salary table.
So this is the COLA increase, which, sorry. Oh, you need to do the whole contract, sorry.
Yeah, we do have the bus contract itself, the whole document that was attached to your appendix there. So the board needs to consider approving that contract, which would incorporate the terms of the earlier motions tonight.
It would incorporate
Bus
everything that we
contract.
just agreed to.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and,
Well, I was going to say, do we have to, I mean, I thought what we were doing was just simply budgetary, kind of waiting maybe till we got the RFP back or something like that. Do you think we need to vote on the contract itself tonight? It's not going to be signed till the end of June, right? Middle of June or something?
Needs to be signed by July 1.
Yeah, I mean, whenever we get funded, but we won't, when's the county commission meet, final?
June 23rd. June 23rd.
23rd. So really, I mean, we just, whoop, I'm sorry.
It's got to be signed prior to cutting a check for insurance.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes,
Which is going to be earlier than you think.
Right.
okay, Dr. Sullivan?
I think the latest would be maybe the May 15th. I think that portion would be okay for the rest of it, because we need to go ahead and see where contractors are, because we will need to potentially, if our contractors aren't happy with where it is, we need to initiate some other things on our own.
All right, can you give us an updated version and then us vote on it that meeting and make sure that, because I've lost track of all the adjustments we've made.
Will that work for you and work for them?
And then we can plug the numbers in and we know where we are.
I can do that, yes.
What do you think?
I'm here to administer what you approve.
Same. Why do I always keep looking over at you? I don't know why I look at you. You're just such a handsome fella, I guess. I don't know. Thank you. If that's okay with the rest of the board, let's.
Yeah, I would say that if we're going this direction with the insurance, contractors should at least start talking to agents about getting insurance and not wait until May 15th.
Yes.
Because if anything needs to be done on that, they need to be ahead of the game on that.
Okay. Okay. So we don't need to vote on that. Okay, so we'll move on to the 25-26 COLA increase salary table.
Our recommendation, we talked about this the other night, is a 2.5% increase. And then the next year, between 1.5 and 2.5, depending on where we are budget-wise. And I know some people have asked me, can we do more? I'm asking, I know I want to support our staff, please, from a budgetary standpoint, please don't.
Whoops, you need a motion for approval of that? Is that
Yes,
what you're
I'm a
looking for?
2.5%.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Tidwell. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, do we have anything under Tennessee legislative or the federal?
Y'all have listened to me enough tonight.
Okay, do we have anything under general discussion?
Oh, yes, Jazz Fest.
Yes, Jazz Fest.
Jazz
yes.
Fest, Jazz Fest. Tomorrow night, all day Saturday, because of the threat of thunderstorms, it's been moved to Oakland Middle, the same times and everything. Jazz Fest-Borough is the Facebook page, and all the scheduling and everything is out there. And thank you to Mr. Decker for hosting us.
Over there.
Being our
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And please come out and support these kids because they are uber talented.
It's going to be a phenomenal show. And please stay, just because your kids aren't on the stage, please stay.
Yep. Okay, go ahead.
Just a reminder, we have a policy meeting at 5 o'clock on Tuesday, and then health and education at 5:30 on Tuesday as well. So either myself or Dr. Martin, depending on how we're moving. And we started talking to principals about cell phone policy yesterday already. So.
Is there anything else?
There was something, and I cannot remember. Did I tell you? I didn't tell you. Okay. Well, it's not, evidently it's not important. I'll bring it up next time. So
Okay.
Not life or death. All right.
Ms. Darby.
Thank y'all's patience with this for me tonight. I feel kind of responsible for it. But anyway, thank all of y'all.
Move to adjourn.
We'll adjourn.